Okay, let's see if this is working now. I thought it was working and it wasn't yet. I just connected it, so let's see. Hello everybody, my name is TechReal, welcome to the stream. If you're in the chat and this is working, please let me know, because I am very terrified that it's not. So let me know. Because I've never done this. I might have done this. Might have once. But even if I did, that was very long ago. So, let me know in the chat if you can currently hear me, because that would be fantastic. So, yes. Okay, people are telling me it's working! Yay! Okay, thank goodness. In that case, I can do a thing, because it's about that time. Yes, look who's back, indeed. It's been a while. But I'm coming to you with a Blue's Clues and You review from a very interesting little place. I'll show you right now. I'm in the thinking chair. With some not great green screen, but we're going to ignore it. You're going to excuse the bad green screen. It's not even that bad, honestly, at the moment. I expected it to be worse in this moment, so that's good. Let's see. Hopefully this is working. I'm looking at my preview. It's not showing up yet, but that's because there's a delay. Oh, it's working. Okay, cool. I think it's working. Just the green screen a bit. I'm going to be fiddling with the green screen quite a bit, so don't mind that. Hello to everyone who's joining. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I'm a Blue's Clues nerd about to talk about some Blue's Clues stuff. Oh, there we go. People are seeing it now. You look right at home. Oh, I am. It's a comfy chair. Don't mind the chair that's in the chair. Don't worry about it. It's just for extra comfort. Don't let it break the illusion. Don't mind the fact that if I extend my arms out too much, they disappear. It's okay. It's alright. We can work with it. Do the think pose? What's the think? I always forget. You've told me so many times, Adam, what the think pose is, and I never remember what pose. Are you thinking like this pose? This pose? Like this think pose? Like, just, should I do that? What am I doing here? How am I posing? Am I doing good? Did I please you, Adam? Welcome to the stream, everybody. I see a lot of people joining, and that is amazing. I was scared there would be 0, and now we are at like 15 according to the views. I could be wrong. That might be the wrong view I'm looking at, but it's okay. It's a thinking computer chair, you know? That's what it is. That's what it is. You excited? We're just going to chat a little bit before the actual reviewing takes place, so yeah, we're going to chat a lot throughout the review, of course. It's a live stream, that's what this is going to be. So, let me just see what's going up. The finger to the brain. Okay, that's what, like this or like this. I'm doing everything I can because Adam's trying to give me a very specific pose to do. You excited for the new episode coming up this Friday? I am. I'm very excited for Friday's episode. We got our little kitty boy coming back, and that's great. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I know there are some clips up. There's some spoilers out there that I don't want to know just yet. But I do know it's coming. It's almost here, and I'm excited. How have you been, Tech? What's up? I've been doing good. I've been doing pretty good. I'm in a thinking chair. Things could be worse. I really hope the green screen holds up. I can't really show it to you because I don't want to mess up my setup. But if I can just explain what's going on. So I have 2 tripods. I have like a phone tripod and a camera tripod. One is balancing on a snack table. The other is balancing on my bed. And I have a green screen tied to the 2. This is a very non-professional setup that could literally fall at any moment, I'm sure. So if at any moment the entire world behind me collapses and you see a crappy room, I apologize because that would be horrible. We're going to hope that doesn't happen though, because we're running off of Blue's Clues magic. It is still Blue's Clues month. It's still the 25th anniversary month. So here's hoping that magic will help. Where's Goobert? Actually, funnily enough, he's right here. I don't know if I've ever showed this on the channel. I'm pretty sure I haven't, but I made this a while back. This was, I don't know about early, but this was, like, pretty soon into when I started, like, making goobs. And I made this little cardboard goobs figurine. It's everything to me. And it's Goobs. Whoo, yes. We missed you since your Blue's Clues news video. Oh. I missed you guys too. Sorry that they ended kind of abruptly. I could take a minute to explain that whole situation, if my throat would stop being horrible. But, yeah, so the whole thing about the, a lot of the, my lighting's changing. So a lot of the reason with the whole, me not making videos for a while, and the whole dropping out of the whole face of YouTube, after, Blue's Clues news, is that after a while I just kind of got burnt out, if I'm super honest, with Blue's Clues content for a while. It was just sort of a lot, and there's a lot of reasons behind it, but for a while I just kind of got burnt out, and that's why I was going to other, like, social media, like TikTok, which I do have a TikTok, so, follow me there. But, so yeah, it just got difficult after a while to make Blue's Clues content for a multitude of reasons, but I'm back. Not saying I'm gonna be back making Blue's Clues content 24/7, but I'm back. My stream's doing a thing. I don't know what it's doing. I hope it's still working. Uh-oh. Oh, hold on. We're gonna see if this is working. I don't know. We're gonna hope. Let me see. Let me refresh my thing, maybe. I don't know if I want to refresh that, though. We're gonna see. I'm just trying to make sure. Because right now my preview is going wonky. And I don't want it to be wonky. Because I have a lot of things to say today. It's still up for you. Okay, good. Okay, my preview is just stuck. I think that's why. I'm very paranoid, guys, when it comes to the stream. Again, I've never done this over here, so I don't know how well it works. I mean, I'm sure it works. So, okay, now that we know everything's working again, let me just look at the chat. Any thoughts on the new clips of the Blueprints pilot? Oh my gosh. That was amazing. Can I just say, can I just say, and I think we can all agree on this, that Steve's skidoo in the Blueprints pilot clip is just possibly the best thing I might have ever seen. Just seeing him run around, like, could you imagine him having to film that? Could you imagine them telling him to do that? Just telling this 20-year-old dude to run around in place and then just yeet himself into one direction. It's ridiculous. It's amazing. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I was hoping we would get full Blueprints this month. I know. I really want that pilot. I mean, we might eventually get it. I'm hoping. But if not, then, you know, at least we got some clips, so that's pretty great. How did you feel when your viewer's birthday episode suggestion became a real episode? That's right. Did I ever talk about the episode suggestions on the on here? I don't know if I ever have. But for those who are less than informed, I did make an idea back in the day of like a viewer birthday episode, and it became a reality. And I remember when I saw the trailers coming up for that, I was like, oh my god, I freaking called it. What am I looking at? Hi tech. Amber, is that you? Oh my god. Is that Amber? Is that Amber? That'd be cool if it was Amber. That's a friend that I didn't expect to be here. If that is them, that's pretty rad. I don't know if you did tech. What? Don't know if I what? I'm intrigued. So I'm like trying to catch up with all the. There's a lot of messages. Rewatched a few episodes of BC&Y a couple days ago. Oh, yeah. It always makes me so happy when people say they rewatch BC&Y. That's something I never expect because it's such like a specific like time-related thing. It's like it's a news show, you know. At the end of the day, you know, it's like what are you gonna do? So it's like I always expect that people are gonna watch it and then never look again. But to hear people like go back to it, it makes me happy. It makes me really happy. Yes, it is I. Oh, hi Amber, and hi Drew Toons, and hi Ryan, and hi Nathan. I'm just saying hi to all the people. All right. 5 more sips of water and we'll get to our actual main event. In fact, we'll do it now. What's your fave BCN episode? Ooh. Dang, that's actually a difficult one, because, I... Is it sad to say that I don't remember most of them? I have such bad memory in general, but especially when it comes to my own content. If I had to choose a favorite, it would either be... I don't know. I'm leaning towards the Christmas one. Because the Christmas one I made a special background for, and just making that made me really happy. And doing that whole little, like, bit at the beginning where I, like, switch out the background, I was just really happy with how that came out. So I was just, like, that was a good one for me, and just, like, yeah. Let's see. Mine are the last two. Fair. Oh yeah, those were the ones leading up. Thoughts on the upcoming Blue's Clues new movie? I need it right now. Every little bit, like, tidbit that I see from that movie is amazing, and I need it. Like, because there have been songs that have been released from it. They're, like, not released fully, but, like, people recording them filming the movie. And there are songs that have been released, and so far, every song that I've heard sounds amazing. And they've been, like, stuck in my head. It's just so good. I want it so bad. And from what I've heard, I just need it. I just need it so bad. Oh, man. Let's see. Off topic, but how's Goobs doing? Goobs is doing pretty good. He's hanging out. He's in the other room right now. He's just snacking. He's being a good boy. Prediction on when the movie will come out. Early next year, I think. I don't want to say early, like, but I feel like before the middle of the year next year. Because they're already done filming. And, like, with how much live action is shown to be in the movie thus far, it feels like, yeah, they're going to be done pretty fast, I think. So, I'm saying somewhere early next year. Like, I almost want to say, like, spring of next year? Maybe? I don't know. Oh, I'm getting a lot of good questions. I need to start at some point, but I'm enjoying all these questions. I feel so missed. How would you feel if you voiced a new character on Blue's Clues, and what would that character be? Oh my god, that would be amazing. I would 100%. Oh my gosh. Angela, if you're watching, please include me. This stream and the following stream, which we'll get to that soon. But this stream is going to be a lot of me talking about Blue's Clues new, 1. 2, answering your guys' stuff. But 3, also begging to be on Blue's Clues. Like, respectfully begging. But begging. Because I would love to be. It's such a dream to be able to work with that team and to be able to, like, either work in the behind the scenes of Blue's Clues new or just be on it. I would love to be a character. As for what that character would be, I mean, I feel like when, people come on to voice something on Blue's Clues new, the character options are very limited. So, like, it'd probably have to be a Skidoo character. I don't know what it would be. It'd have to be something new, I'm sure. But, I mean, anything that would relate well enough to what I do in general. Like, if my Skidoo character could be, like, a content creator of some sort. I know it's weird to imagine, like, a YouTuber in a Skidoo thing, but, like, if some, like, approximation, or just something crafty, that'd be cool. It's just something a little fitting. What do we got? I'm really excited for the first musical number. Yes! That first musical number is so catchy. That's the first one that showed up, and it's amazing. How was the FAO Schwartz event? It was wonderful. It was so good. The event was great. I bought some things. I didn't need to because it had nothing to do with the event, but I was there and I bought some things. But I saw the thinking chair. This one, but the real one. It was great. Seeing the notebooks and the shirts up front and the props, it was amazing. Being in the same area as the thinking chair, which looks a lot shorter than you would think. Maybe it's just me and I don't expect it, but, like, it looked short. I went up to it and I was like, wow, that's really on the ground there. Oh my gosh. Random question. Will this stream remain on your channel after it's over? That's the plan. I'd really like to hope. YouTube says that it should automatically save it, so I'm trusting that it will. I'm really hoping. But, yeah, that's the plan, to keep this up afterwards. Because this is the review video. yeah, so let me talk about this for a minute too. Back on the topic of the review. So originally, this whole Blue's Clues New review, was going to be a series of videos on the channel. Just like videos, I'd probably premiere them, but they were going to be videos. Scripted, and it was going to be a whole thing. So the reason why that changed, the reason I'm doing the live stream now is honestly just because I've not been... I've not been in the best brain space lately. I don't want to get too much deeper than that. There's just been a lot on my mind, so it's been hard to kind of get content out to a certain extent. Bigger content. And this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I was pushing it for a while. So, and I wanted to get it done before the birthday month was over, because this is the 25th anniversary month. I can't not do this now. So, here we are. This was the best way I could figure to do it. I could do it off the cuff, just sort of talk it out and hang out with you guys. And I figured that could be fun in a way that I can finally get this review out without stressing myself out about it anymore. And so far right now, that feels like the right choice because I'm having a lot of fun and I'm hoping that you guys are too. Cheers. Take a shot every time I sip some water. And by take a shot, I mean also sip some water. Hydration. Did you see what Steve Burns gave us the message about years ago? Oh my god, if you're talking about the Steve message where he came up and was like, hey, you remember when I left? Can we talk about that? That message made me cry. And I am not afraid to admit that because it made us all cry, and if you say it didn't, you are lying. That was an emotional message. I don't know. That day, too, I was just not having a great day. So, to get that from Steve and to hear him say those words that led into really kind words, it broke me. That's, the second time that he's broken me in this reboot so far. And the third time he's broken me overall. Cough, cough, Steve goes to college. Cough. So, yeah. What'd you think of the music video? It was great. I made some art for the music video, and it didn't get in, which is sad, but I don't even care because the video was amazing and the song was great, so I can forgive them, even though I'm a little bit salty. Just a little bit. Alright. I think it's about time we get started. So here's the thing. It feels so weird to get back on topic. So, I will answer more of your questions throughout, guys. So, I'm just going to say that right now. But now I'm going to get a bit more on topic. So, because the whole reason of the stream is that it's going to be a Blue's Clues and New review. Specifically, part 1 of a Blue's Clues and New review. Part 2 will be next week, next Wednesday. So, exactly a week from today. Probably the same time as well. Because I have a lot to say about this show. I have a lot to say. And I couldn't possibly condense it all into one section, one review, one video, one live stream. I couldn't. Because there's just that much to say. So this is part 1. Welcome to part 1. This is the basics. This is, what I refer to as the basics, where I talk about, the basics. A lot of the main aspects of the show. So I have, if I can switch back over to this, you can see my list for the basics is the animation/design, the host, Joshua Dela Cruz, the music, updated technology, and remake/inspired/original episodes, because that's a whole topic in and of itself. So, yeah, this today is going to be the basics. Next week, I'll be talking about the nitpicks, because if you've been on this channel if you've been on this channel before, rather, you'll know that I am a very, very nitpicky boy. It's what happens. I have a lot to say about a lot of things, and I can always find something a little bit wrong with just about everything. So that is where I'm going to get into the bigger stuff, the bigger problems I have with the series. But before I do, let me just say, before I get on with the full review, let me just say right off the bat, I want to be very clear about something right now. I love Blue's Clues and You. I truly do. And if somehow, and I know it's not going to happen, but if somehow someone from the crew of Blue's Clues and You was to see this video, I want it to be very, very clear that I do not dislike this show. I do not dislike anyone on the crew. I do not dislike anything about this show. majority. I have issues with it, but I feel like at the end of the day, I love this show. I would recommend it to everyone. I do recommend it to people. So I want to get that across, and I want to be very clear that any issues I have with the show, I'm going to try to keep very constructive. I'm going to bring them up in a very respectful way, of course, because the last thing I would want to do is offend anybody who works for the show, anybody who loves the show, because it is an amazing show, and I don't want to be mean to them, because they don't deserve that, especially in their birthday month. But yeah, so all that to say that I love this show. Anything that I have to say about this show that's negative is my own opinion. It's just what I think, and it's going to come out as respectfully and constructive as I possibly can. So, that being said, one more sip of water, and I can start talking about this show. Alright. Whew. See, a lot of people talking about Kevin in the chat. I don't know why, but okay. Kevin's a good boy. He ain't no Steve. He ain't no Joe. But he's okay. He's okay. I have not seen many episodes with Kevin, but he's okay. He is not the focus of today. But yeah, so let's start by talking about the animation and design of Blue's Clues New. Starting with, let's see, where to start? I'm getting nervous now. This is the part where I'm like, okay, now I have to share opinions. So let's start with just the backgrounds. Well, we can start very simply, in fact, with, hold on. We're gonna get this all set up, all nice and good. So, I'm getting nervous. Oh, I just realized something. Let me just do something real fast. Did I do the thing? I did not do the thing. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Okay, sorry, one moment. And do that. That moment when you're like, I don't even know how long I'm into this stream. How long am I? Like, I'm a bunch of minutes into this live stream, and I only just realized I didn't advertise the live stream today. So, but we got there. Okay. Anyways, welcome to anyone who is currently joining. I'm about to start talking about the show. So, animation design. Let's talk about the background. So, right off the bat, I have to say that every background that this show has provided is amazing. I'm gonna call a lot of things amazing, but it's really good. What they do in the show is that they have managed to completely capture the feel of the original, while also updating it in textures and looks, and obviously crispness and quality. But they've managed to do all that while still completely maintaining the original feel of the show. If I may show you in this shot, welcome to this shot. Welcome. This is the example shot, because I have a lot of example images to show you. So this, of course, is the original house, as you know, the original Blue's Clues house, and this is the new one. You may notice that there are some changes. There are some definite obvious changes, of course. There's the roof, there's the door, there's little things, there's the path, and, everything. But at the same time, you can see it completely captures what the original did, just in a slightly updated way, with different textures, with different things. But you can still see that it still retains a lot of that same feeling, even just down to the fact that it looks crafted. A lot of the things in this show, you can tell, like, the trees are like crumpled up paper, the house is made of clay, and that still gets across here, even if it's done a bit more, like, smoothly. I don't know if it's quite the word I'm looking for. It's crisp, it's quality. Like, you can still tell this tree is obviously tissue paper. It's better tissue paper, it's crisper, it looks nicer. But it's still that same type of thing. And again, the house is the same thing. You can still see it's made of clay, bushes of paper as well. Everything still retains that crafted look while still being updated to look new. And this stands true in even such locations as the living room, where you can see, again, identical to the original living room, except for two details actually, which we'll talk about in a second. But again, it completely retains the feel of the original living room while updating itself slightly. The wallpaper is a bit more crisp. It has like a wallpaper texture. The floor has this it's a little intense in this picture, but this carpet texture that just, again, sort of makes it feel a bit more real. Side table looks a bit more wooden, which is definitely strange for her, But it makes sense. She's wood. She's a wooden drawer. She's made of wood. Now it shows, the wood over here. Window's different, of course. And one of the biggest differences you'll notice in the living room, this is something that they decided to add, was the felt frame in this shot. Which is a bit unexpected. This was a bit unexpected when I first saw it, because it just felt like, why are they pushing it over here? But it does balance the living room out, especially because they took away the phone. Because if you notice, the side table no longer has her landline phone, obviously, because, we're later in time, we have cell phones now, even though everyone I know still has a landline phone as well, but it's okay. But it balances out the living room really well, and I think they got this from Blue Stock, because in Blue Stock, as you can see here, this was the last episode of the original show, they put this over in the, on the set that they did Blue Stock on. I'm assuming because side table wasn't there the whole time, so they wanted to balance out the living room, and felt that it could be a good addition here, now that the phone is out. So, yeah, again, it's very much keeping to the original feel without actually changing too much. And, oops, I clicked a thing. That was unprofessional. Yeah, we're doing things. But anyways, the whole point is that the backgrounds, and you can see it even in this background, this is actually a better look of the wallpaper, if you can tell, and the thinking chair. At the end of the day, they've managed to do with every background, they get the original feel of the show, they make the layout exactly the same as it was, while also managing, yeah, people are noticing I screwed up, while also managing to make it look new and bright and crisp. So it feels more alive, and speaking of something feeling more alive, if we're talking about the animation, and we're talking about new designs, updated things, especially when it comes to this reboot, we have to talk about the very first bit of that we ever got, which would be Blue herself. This was a shock when I had first seen it, because this is the first thing, this came with the announcement of the reboot. And for a lot of, classic Blue's Clues fans, this might have been a little scary. Because, the render, was not perfect. It was very, very fuzzy, as you can see. There's a lot of extra fuzz on this that they ended up sort of smoothing out over time. She has the pinks in her ears in this one. If you notice, originally they were going to give her the pinks in her ears, so that's a detail. But for the most part, yes, this is CG Blue, which is frightening to a lot of people, because everyone's so used to 2D Blue. But if I have to be honest, if I'm going off of what I think it's better. And that's going to be a big statement to a lot of people. Because a lot of people, of course, want to say that Blue, original Blue has to be the best thing. Everyone grew up with original Blue. How could new Blue possibly be better? But there are some reasons why. The biggest reason, there's two specific reasons that I think Blue is better in this new form. Three really, but two main reasons, specifically design related, and that would be, one, the fact that you can see her mouth better as opposed to the original, because if there we go. Original Blue, you could see her chin. You really couldn't see her mouth, except for times where they would change it up to emote, but this was her main look most of the time. But now you can see her mouth all the time. You can see her emote. In addition to that, they finally gave her eyebrows, which is something I never realized I needed with Blue, but I really did. Because here's the thing, I never realized how little in the original show Blue actually, was able to properly show emotions. The issue is, when it comes to Blue, in the original show, her eyebrows are not really existent. They change her eye shape at times. They would sort of imply eyebrows, but they were the same exact color as her fur. So it didn't really look like anything, and it was kind of hard to tell what she was trying to emote most of the time, especially because a lot of the time, her facial expression on most occasions was this very neutral look, which is, a bit of an issue a lot of times. It's your main character, this is the main source of your cuteness of this character, and she looks like that most of the time, which again, isn't horrible. This isn't an issue necessarily, but you compare that to the new one, who's so bright and expressive, and you can see her, and you can see her smiling, and it's it's such a little thing, but it's such, like, a big thing to me, because, like, which face to you is more welcoming? Like, this very, like, neutral, kind of apathetic seeming face, or this little smiling puppy? Like, it's such a big difference to me, and I can't even, like, I can never, like, now that when I go back and watch original Blue's Clues, it almost kind of bothers me to see, like, them try to emote with her, because it's just not as good. Again, it works well for that show. And again, I'm not saying that the way she emoted in the original show was necessarily bad, but it was, in my opinion, a little lacking. So seeing their updated version works a lot better for me, especially when it comes to a little episode. This is the first time I really noticed this, was Blue's Sad Day. So here's the thing. If I can go to the example. So, Blue's Sad Day, an episode where Blue is sad. And this is Blue in the original, which, again, isn't bad, but, again, you can't really, like, see her mouth as much. You can't, again, the eyebrows blend in a little bit too much, so you can sort of mistake this for other things. It's harder to see. Again, you can tell she's sad, but it's not as clear as it could be. Then compare it to this, with the eyebrows, you can see her mouth more. And again, like, the fact that you can normally see her mouth and see that smile, and then to see that go away, really, it's more punchy to see that in comparison to the original, where you didn't really see her smile regularly. Like, again, her face was usually that neutral. So, again, I think that's a lot better. I can read that as a lot more sad than this. Like, both are good, but this just reads a lot better. And with the updated animation, like, they've like, it's hard to explain, but again, with the 2D animation of Original Blue, not that it was, like, bad, but again, it was lacking in certain ways, because they could only move her so much. They only had so many animations for her, but now they really can, you know, mess around with the animations, so they've really, like, been able to give her sadder movements and slower movements, smoother movements, which really works. Speaking of her animation, if I may say for a second, she looks like a Goomba in this shot. She really kind of does. But speaking of her animation, something that is worthy of note, which is something that isn't a factor anymore, but originally in the first, I don't know how many episodes, the first few episodes, I know, her animation was very different than what it is now. Originally, her animation was very choppy, something that I would, you know, compare to the Peanuts movie, or more specifically, like Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, if you've seen that, where it's sort of this lower frame rate animation that they were trying to do at first, and it wasn't bad. Again, let me be very clear, it wasn't bad, but it was not smooth, and it, like, I assume what they were doing at the time was that they were trying to save on money. You know, obviously, you know, it's a CG model, so it might be a bit more, you know, expensive or pricey to, or just time-consuming to try to make those movements very fluid and smooth. Either that, or they were trying to recapture the style of the 2D animation while still doing CG, so they were trying to limit how much she would move and how many frames to sort of give that nostalgic feeling of the original. Those are my two theories with that. But later on, they sort of decided to scrap that and just go with smoother animation. I don't know what the change was or why they decided to. Maybe they figured it would look better, and it does. So now her movements are very smooth. Which, again, like, it wasn't, like, a necessary thing to bring up, because both were fine. Like, I feel like I'm in the minority that even though I can look back at the first couple episodes and realize that it was very stiff and weird, in comparison to now, when it started, I didn't mind it, because it looked great. It still looked great. So, yeah, however they've been animating Blue, it's been great. Let me just look at the chat for a second. Basically, when she was 2D, her movements were a lot more stiff. That would be the best way to describe it. Her movements were very simple and stiff. They didn't have too many animations for her, and even the ones they had were very simple, again, compared to what they can do now with the CG model. And with a CG model, may I add, that it's so much easier to incorporate her into the world. One, she feels more real. You can see her in, like, 3D space, moving around as a 3D character, so she feels more real to a child. But two, it also allows more interaction with the hosts, where, like, originally they did some, but very rarely, and even when they did, it kind of wasn't perfect. But now they've been able to do a lot more with that, like in this shot, which is one of my favorite shots that we've ever gotten from them. And this is from the promos. This is one of the promos from the, like, before it even started airing. This is one of my favorite pictures of Josh and Blue, because he's holding her like a little baby, and that's adorable. And just the fact that they can do that now and animate that properly, it's amazing. It makes her feel all that much more real. And we've gotten other interactions like that, where they sort of, like, are moving together, and, like, you know, there's some interaction there. It just looks... Oh, it looks so great. And I see my green screen start to freak out a bit. I'm gonna mess with this for a sec. There we go. My wallpaper is starting to be weird. But, yeah, so... I know I just talked a lot about Blue, but that's a lot of what I have to say about the animation. In terms of other design aspects, we have, I accidentally closed an image. Oops, it's okay, we already talked about it. We have the other characters, which I can bring up here. The other characters, just like Blue, are done very, very well. I feel like their animation was definitely a bit weird at first, for me personally, like, to get used to it. I feel like, again, I'm so used to that slightly more stiff original Blue's Clues animation, so there were moments when I saw the new one and I was like, it felt very weird and bendy, but I learned to love it. Again, it's a lot of getting used to Blue's Clues and the over Blue's Clues is just about adjusting to the new way of doing things that they do, and the new look, because obviously it's never going to look exactly like the original, and honestly, if it did, that wouldn't be exactly a plus. You always want it to maybe look a little bit better, if you can, while also keeping the original feel, and that's what I think they do. Especially in the designs, I love the designs. Everyone looks so great. They look so great. They look amazing. Cinnamon, if you may notice, I have to zoom in a bit. So Paprika and Cinnamon are in this new series, and they are sort of made to look a bit aged up, as they have aged up over the course of the show, apparently. So Paprika is, like, I don't know what age she's supposed to be. She acts like a preteen, and then you have Cinnamon, whose cap is now a baseball cap. I don't know how I feel about this. This is one of those changes that I always felt was, like, a little not personally my style. I see why they did it. I don't know how in love with it I am. I've grown to be okay with it. Like, it doesn't bother me as it used to. And again, I don't think it's a bad choice. I just didn't expect it, and I didn't prefer it for a while. But everyone else, again, looks great. Everyone. Tickety Slippery, Shovel and Pail, Side Table, every mailbox looks so metallic, which, again, is very strange, but it makes sense. He's a mailbox. He's going to be metal. So, yeah, and also, Josh's guitar here is just great. I know, and Josh's outfit. If I'm, I know this isn't animation design, but if I may just talk about his outfit for a second, you know what? Actually, that can wait. I'm talking about the host next. I think that can fall under that. Okay. But yeah. So yeah, the characters look great, and if I can just be nitpicky for a moment, I know the next stream next week is going to be the nitpicks one, but if I can get nitpicky for a little second, I have one more thing to talk about animation/design wise that they did change that I have thoughts on. So here we have the paw print in the new show. And of course the shape is fine. The shape looks great, perfect, compared to the original. But if you may notice, one, it's a lot lighter, which again isn't a problem, but it's very sparkly. And this is something I'm still kind of getting used to. I've gotten used to over time. It doesn't stand out to me as much as it used to. And apparently Steam is giving me a notification, so don't mind that. But yeah, it's definitely a change that I did not expect, and Steam is still giving me notifications. Okay, hold on. I need to fix that. Pardon me if I can make Steam go away, because that would be fantastic. Hold on. Technical difficulties. I don't want Steam notifications to keep showing up. Hold on. We have a couple things to close. Here we go. And then Steam anywhere in here? Bear with me for a moment. Okay, just end that. If I just end these. I really hope this doesn't mess me up. Okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully shouldn't get any more Steam notifications. Okay. Anyways, back to the paw print. So, yeah, the sparkliness of the paw print. I think they added to this, most likely, again, to just give this extra magical feel to the paw prints. I feel like maybe they thought they looked a little bit too plain in the original. They wanted to spark up the interest for the kids. It's definitely something I feel is, I don't want to say odd, but a little odd. And again, not in a bad way. This is not a horrible thing. It is something I've gotten used to over time. So it's not even a big deal. But it's something that did take me some time to get used to. And it's going to take anyone time to get used to. Because it definitely differs a lot from the original paw print. You know, especially when you factor in the shading and the lighting of this paw print. It looks so radically different. The other paw prints of the show do look different as well. Not this different. The shading's a bit more dulled down and the sparkles are not there. So the sparkliness is not an entire thing with the paw print, but it is a thing. So I could see people struggling with that, and I struggle with it. But I've grown to like it. It definitely, I was going to say it fits. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think it's a bit of an unnecessary detail if I have to be brutally honest. But again, not a damaging one. Not one that I think is necessarily bad. So the green screen's freaking out again. There we go. Alright, but yeah, so that is the majority of my thoughts regarding the animation and design. Overall, it's all very faithful to the original show, while also bringing this new updated look that they have with the new technology and the newer abilities and capabilities of what they can do and edit. There's new textures, there's new things. Again, my green screen's freaking out. Ooh, okay. Pardon me, whoa. Welcome to the Tech Messes with His OBS. There we go. We're gonna say that's good. So, it's not. Pardon me, sorry. I don't work with green screen often, so excuse me if it's not very perfect. We're just gonna keep going. But, yes, so the animation is amazing. I really love it. The animation, the way things move, the way things look. Again, very faithful to the original show, while very updated. And it all works really smoothly, and it all very much fits the show and the style, and makes me think of the original show without being too perfect. Without being too similar, I suppose. But, yeah. Before we move on to the next thing, anyone else have any other things to talk about animation/design-wise? Any questions of things I think about regarding that, and I can answer that. Give you my thoughts. Or if you want to share your own opinions about the animation and design. What do you got? Let's see. Okay. Whew. Man. One section down and I already feel exhausted from speaking. It's how it happens. It's how it happens. Let me just make sure everything's still good. Okay. Is it me or is the paw print less sparkly sometimes? Sometimes. Again, it's definitely not sparkly during the actual clues. If you mean just the main paw print, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't noticed it getting more or less sparkly from episode to episode, but it might have been. I mentioned that it's a bit weird to see the dogs as CG yet everyone else is 2D. That's fair. That is definitely a fair point, because so far the only characters that are fully in CG are Magenta and Blue. Which is strange. I don't know exactly why that is. I feel like the only reason Magenta is because Blue is, and I feel like the reason Blue is because they just wanted more options in what they could do animation-wise and, movement-wise. So I feel like that's probably the reason. And again, Magenta probably only followed suit so that it wouldn't look weird to have, CG dog next to 2D dog. So yeah, it's definitely strange why that is. But I don't think it looks too distracting. But yeah, no, I definitely see that. I was wondering also if Periwinkle, when he came in, if he was going to be CG, but so far, but I say so far, but from what we've seen so far in the previews, it definitely looks like they're going with 2D, and that's fine. I thought it was going to bother me more than it would. It doesn't. What are your thoughts on the redesign of Miss Marigold? That was a thing. That was a thing I saw. That she went from human to hippo? Was she a hippo now? I think she's a hippo now, which is strange. Personally, I prefer the original Miss Marigold design, because it was just a really good design, I thought. But I can see why they wanted to go away from that. One, because I feel like it feels like in certain areas they're trying to keep more consistency with humans in that world. Because obviously we still see humans sometimes when we skidoo, but like, it feels like, and this makes sense if this is the case, that they want to keep humans in their world pretty consistent and have them be live action. So, because even back then when Joe and Miss Marigold were in the same room, it felt kind of strange. Because it was like, well, you're a human and you're a human, so what's the difference? And why are you this and you that? Like, that's odd. But she is a hippo. And the other thing is that it makes more sense because it's an animal teaching other animals. And I think that's probably part of the change, too. I definitely don't mind it. I think it's strange. And again, I prefer the old design, but I think it's good. I did mention something about sparkles. What did you mention about sparkles? Where did you mention? This person said, scroll up for about the sparkles. The new Pop and sparkle just like the gold clues from Meet Blue's baby brother. Okay. I wonder if that might have been part of the inspiration, similarly to how Blue Stock might have been the inspiration for the new frame. Or not the new frame, but the repositioning of the frame. It's possible. That might have been a thing, because that was the last thing that, the last game of Blue's Clues was Gold Clues. So, maybe that inspired it. Maybe they thought that the magicalness of the clues lended something a bit more interesting. If you've seen Periwinkle return, you realize he's standing on 2 legs instead of 4 like before. That is interesting, isn't it? I don't know what to make of that. It's very strange. I almost wonder if it just looks like that so far. Because again, we haven't seen the full episode, so I don't know if there's more clip. I don't want to see any preview clips of it anymore, but it definitely is strange to see him walking on 2s now, and I almost wonder if they're doing that because of the fact that Orange Kitten and the other kitten characters, the other cat characters, have been walking on 2s this whole time. So I wonder if they figured that it made more sense to have him do that as well, rather than have him be the only one that goes on 4s. Which is interesting, and I understand the decision if that's the case, and it might also help him do more magic, like with his hands, rather than if he's on the ground and has to sit. So maybe that was the reason. What else we got? I don't get what the felt frame they added isn't the one next to the thinking chair. It doesn't bother me, but it's confusing. I don't see why. It could be where it was. Oh, the orange one. Oh, okay. You're saying why didn't they put the new orange one? Because for those who don't know, there is an orange felt frame now as well, where the pink one used to be. You're saying why isn't the orange one the one that's in the main living room shot and the pink one left where it is? Which, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. My answer to that is they probably just wanted to keep the pink felt frame with the other frame in the main shot, just because that's the more recognizable one. So it would look a little bit more like together and classic, and a little bit more like nostalgic, I suppose. But no, that is fair, like, because it is weird that like the felt frame is still where it is, but now it's a different color, but the real one's over there. I see that. Where else we got? Scrolling down. A little morbid that the Podprint gets wiped when it's alive sometimes. That's fair. The Podprint is alive and it's wiped away, which is strange, but, well, if you think about it, the ones that are alive aren't the ones that get wiped away. So maybe some live and some don't. One thing I realized about Blue School is that there's only 4 kids instead of a lot of kids. That's something I noticed too. They definitely really restricted the kids in that one. And I wonder if that's just because they wanted to be able to focus on those 4 more, and just felt like they could. And if that's the case, then that's fine. I don't think it's too distracting at the end of the day. But it is definitely a little strange to see so many less kids. And yes, Green Puppy, who is completely absent and has been like replaced in like 2 episodes, I think. Because she was originally supposed to be in Sad Day, and also I think Colors Everywhere, I believe. So that's unfortunate. I wonder if they will bring her back. But yeah, probably since pink would fit better with the living room, fair. And orange fits better with the snack area. That's fair, that's fair. There's a Welsh dub of the original series. Really? Fascinating, fascinating. I'm a little annoyed that Blue's Clues New uses the frame shape for the skidoos more than the shape of what they skidoo in. I'm not sure what that means. Wait, Blue's Clues New uses the frame shape for the skidoos more than the shape of what they skidoo in. Not entirely sure on that one. If you remember Magenta's house, her mailbox is alive, but now it's not. That's fair. I almost wonder if they have it sleeping in the same way that like Side Table can kind of sleep and then not have a face. They might play with that later on because we know that other mailboxes are alive. But yeah. Also, I know Ryan, you mentioned the skidoos. One thing I didn't mention is that the skidoos have this new effect to them. You know, obviously in the original, skidoos don't have an effect at all. But in the new show, they have this, like, sparkly swirl effect, which is, again, interesting, but I feel unnecessary, similarly to the sparkles on the paw print. So I don't think it's an issue, and it looks fine, but it's definitely something that I don't think it needed to have. But it's alright. We need more of Green Puppy, Orange Kitten, and Purple Kangaroo. Orange Kitten and Purple Kangaroo have had some screen time, though. They've gotten some screen time, so there's good. They're good. Green Puppy is the one we need back. Alright, so next up, let me just double check with my situation. We have, yes, the host. I wanted to make sure because I have an order. But next up we have the host we can talk about, which is, of course, Joshua De La Cruz. So, here's the thing. He's amazing. He's amazing in every way, and everyone needs to know that. So let me try to explain a bit more. So first of all, let me just say, little story. First of all, the moment that I saw this man, let me pull this up, because there was a video on Twitter that was released. I'm sure it released other places, but the first place I saw it was Twitter. There was this video that was released that revealed Josh as the new host, and I remember seeing this video. And I don't know how many other people did that. I feel I've heard a lot of people have the same reaction. But I looked at him, and I looked at the video, and I was like, okay, you're the new host, and that seems perfect. Like, you know, for someone who was like so like nervous about who the new host would end up being, the moment I saw him, I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect, actually. He seems like he could be that. And I don't know, maybe he just has a friendly face, maybe he sounded very friendly, he just seemed very nice and very much like he loved Blue's Clues. Maybe it was a mixture of all of them, but I just remember seeing him and I was like, yeah, that's the new host. Like I can see it perfectly, immediately, that's the host of Blue's Clues, and that is perfectly fine with me. But yeah, Josh is amazing. He has done so well. He is a great actor. He's a great singer. Because every song that he's sung in Blue's Clues New so far, which we will get to the music, but every song he's sung is amazing. He sings really great. There's one moment where his singing is less than great. There's a single moment at the end of episode 1 where he does like the ending, the So Long song for the first time, and he hits kind of like a weird note, but we ignore that because his voice is amazing the rest of the time. Speaking of early Josh in the first season, let's say the first half of season 1, there was a little while where I was a little concerned about Josh. Not because he was a bad actor necessarily, but because, again, and I'm going to get into this later, but season 1 was the remake season, remaking older episodes and updating them for the new show. And that was a hard season for me to try to get used to Josh, because as much as I really enjoyed Josh, it was difficult because they were using the exact same scripts as season 1, or not season 1 specifically, but like of whatever episodes that they were remaking, and because of that, it was Josh trying to do lines from Steve and Joe, which doesn't sound like a problem at first, but the issue is that they were done so perfectly, in my opinion, in many opinions, the first time around. So to see someone else try to redo that in the reboot was a bit, I don't want to say problematic, that seems so mean, but it was a bit of an issue for me. It was hard for me to enjoy Josh for who he was and to really see his acting objectively when I was always mentally comparing it with scenes from the original, since he was using scripts, since they were giving him scripts from the original. So in season 1, it was definitely difficult to judge Josh's acting and to really, get used to him fully. And that's not to say that I didn't, I still love Josh throughout, and, he got more comfortable and he got a little bit better at it throughout that season. But it wasn't until season 2 where I started seeing Josh. That's when they finally gave some original episodes, and that's where I could really see Josh shine. Finally, they were giving him new content. He didn't have, there weren't scenes in my head that I can compare with this one that were done by other people from my childhood. It was just Josh. And the moment that happened, that was when I realized, yes, Josh is great. He finally got to shine in season 2, I think. And season 2 up till now. Now he's just amazing. And he was amazing the whole time, but again, it's hard to compare with, the nostalgia, the childhood, the rose-tinted glasses towards the original, because you tried to recreate that, and it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be as, meaningful to me or many people as the original was. So it was rough at the start. It was rough. But that was mainly just due to what he was given rather than his own abilities. I mean, also, I'm sure it was partly due to the fact that he was just getting used to working in that environment. But, it's a mixture. But all that to say, Josh is amazing. His singing is amazing. We can talk about his outfit, actually. If I can pull up the picture from before. If I can find it, that'd be great. Is that it? Nope. I have a lot of tabs open for this picture. These pictures, and there it is. Okay, we got there. Boop. Okay, so Josh, his outfit is great. I really like that they went back to the stripes, similar to Steve. One, because it sort of connects it to the original show for reboot's sake. But they've changed it up. It's not the collar shirt anymore, which thank goodness, because no offense to the original Steve shirt, but of course, Steve's original outfit, if you really look at it objectively, is, despite the stripy colorness of it all, it was very much, a little too, dressy. He's wearing a long-sleeve polo shirt, with khakis and a belt and, dress shoes. It was a little too much. So I like how, over time, they really, especially when they went to Joe, they really toned that back. They made it so that, it looked a little bit more casual. And that continues here. Now it's just, a more normal shirt and some jeans and some sneakers. So it's very nice. It's a very casual look, and I really like it. The blue is really nice. I used to think I wanted Steve's shirt. No, I want that shirt. I kind of do. This is a pretty closely approximate sweater that I had even before the reboot. So, I mean, Nick Jr., stop copying me. But, no, but it's a really good look. His guitar, as I mentioned before, is really nice. It's a really simple pattern. And the fact that he uses the guitar, I didn't even mention yet. They are doing with Josh what they sort of tried to do with Steve early on in Blue's Clues, which they really tried to tie him to the guitar. And with Steve, that came up here and there, but it never really stuck. And I don't know if that was because Steve, I don't know if at the time there was some aversion to wanting to do that on the show, or maybe it was they couldn't find a lot of places to organically put it, or maybe they just were flip-flopping on whether or not they wanted that to be a thing with him at all. I don't really know. But it just didn't work in the original show. It was very rare that he would bring it out, and when he did, it felt kind of random to me personally. But with Josh, they've been incorporating it every episode. It's part of the show. His guitar is just about as important to him as the Notebook is. Because, it's part of the songs. If you've seen, the To Play Blue's Clues song at the beginning of every episode, and the So Long song, both completely, every episode you play those songs, he has those there. He's playing the song with them. So they've perfectly tied it in, and they've tied it into various plot points. It's been very nice. It's a very welcome addition to his character that I really like. And at first, it was, a little shocking. It was I don't know if they're going to be able to make this work, but it works. He makes it work. But yeah, also, the one thing I didn't talk about him about is the sneakers, which are great. Sneakers are nice. I don't have anything more to say about the sneakers. They're just nice. But overall, Josh looks great. And he is great, and he's amazing. But yes, also, there's something I just realized I don't have a visual for. I never took a picture of. And I need to look it up, because even though we're talking about Josh right now, there's something that I didn't look up, and I need to look up. Hold on. Because it's something I realized I could talk about. Let's see. If I can find the perfect picture, which I might have just done. Okay, there we go. Dude. It's not perfect, but it will do. If I can find a better picture, that'd be even better, but I don't know if I will. I don't want to stall too long, just sitting here doing nothing. Alright. Oh, that's a small picture, but you know, it's going to have to do. Alright, one more thing, and then I'll open up to see what you guys think about Josh and everything. But to change the subject for a quick moment, let's talk about the other hosts. Only because I just want to talk about their outfits as well. I realize I can talk about the slight changes within. Because technically this is the host section, not the Josh section, so I can talk about the other hosts. Steve is back, and it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. Steve and Joe are back. Let me be fair. Joe is back too. I'm not one of those people who hates Joe. I absolutely love Joe. Even as a kid, when Joe came in, I didn't hate him like everyone else did. I love Joe. He's just as good as Steve, and I feel like people need to accept that. But that's my opinion. So, but yeah, Steve's back. He's rocking the glasses. In this shot, you know, recently with the 25th anniversary, they've brought back the green striped shirt, which I don't know if he'll be wearing in episodes. I assume they've given him this new outfit because he's going to be in new episodes, I hope. But if not, that's fine too. He also has that really awesome hat, which is very low quality in this image, but if you can tell, it's a crayon hat, and it looks great. It's a very nice outfit. And of course, he has his detective outfit, which has also been nice, although we haven't seen it in another episode since the first one. Which, let me just say, we need more Detective Steve. This is the start of my petition for more Detective Steve. And then we have Joe, who works in the present store now, which is something that I didn't expect. I don't think anyone would have expected that. And I really like his new shirt. They've stuck him with the purple, which is interesting. It's weird to not see him with different colors every time, but I also think it's more fitting. It's better that, especially since he's only going to be in the show here and there, that he has a more concrete look. And the purple really works for him. It's not the color I'd think I would have chosen if I was in charge of it, but it's the color that I'm happier with that they chose. Like, I would have probably went with the orange just because that's his sort of iconic look to me. But I think the purple really works, and I like how the squares on his shirt now have become presents for his present store job. I think that's very clever. I think it really works. His shoes are the same. I don't have a picture of his shoes in this moment, but you'll have to trust me, they're amazing. But yeah, they really did the hosts well with the outfits this time around. I mean, they always have, but like especially this time around. They're just so good. But yeah, back to Josh though. He's great. Overall, Josh has done a really amazing job getting into Blue's Clues and becoming this new host that everyone loves and I love. He's amazing, and yeah, I think he's great. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. If you have any questions about my thoughts on Josh or opinions of Josh on your own. I'm seeing someone say that Steve is short. That is correct. No offense to Steve, but he is short. Oh, man. Let's see. What are you guys thinking of Josh? Waiting for the stream to get to that point for you guys so you can talk about Josh. I know it sounds weird, but why do I feel like Steve got shorter over the seasons? Like early season 1, Steve seems so much taller than late season 4 Steve. Just me? I don't know. I mean, it's not something I noticed. I don't know if he did. It's possible. And maybe it was just the way they like arranged the cameras. I know later on, I mean, nowadays he looks really short in comparison because, the others just are taller than him. So he looks like a little person. Not a little person, you know what I mean. He looks like a small man. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. What's your favorite Blue's Clues episodes? A little off topic, but, Words, Cafe Blue, Blue's Big Mystery. Those are the ones coming off the top of my head. Josh is a good boy. He is a good boy. About Joshua's shoes, I do have the custom-made Josh shoes like those. Really? That's really cool. Josh has some nice shoes. Josh is amazing. I genuinely don't think they could have chosen any other amazing host than him. I'd love to meet him IRL someday. Oh, same. He seems like such a nice guy. He's amazing. But, yeah, he's great. I really couldn't imagine anyone doing better than he has done, and he continues to do. Josh is just as great as Steve and Joe, in my opinion, and I will say he was a bit rough in the first couple episodes, but nowadays he feels right at home. He really does. He just works. There's something about Josh that makes him have this big, special, amazing ability. Yeah, he just has a big presence to him. I think it's probably because he was on Broadway prior, but he's great. He's so good. And he can sing, man. I know I said that already, but he can sing. Also, not technically a host, but while we're on the topic of live-action characters, do you think we'll see Miranda or a character similar to her in Blue's Clues New, aka Magenta's owner? I don't know. I wish Miranda would come back. She was in 2 episodes, and she is one of my favorite characters on the show. And I wholeheartedly ship her with Steve. And I know it might be weird to have a Blue's Clues ship, but that's what I have. They just work well. But no, yeah, Miranda was amazing on the show, and I genuinely hope that, she comes back someday. I don't know if she will. As for a new, sort of, character that's similar to her, I don't know. I feel like if they were going to have Magenta have an owner, they would have done it already, especially since, they did Magenta Gets Glasses, or Getting Glasses with Magenta, I believe it's called in the reboot. So, I feel like if they were going to introduce a new, character like that, they would have done that then, since Miranda was in that episode originally. I could be wrong, but that's just the vibe that I get. I remember we joked saying in the Magenta Gets Glasses remake they'd get Liza Koshy to be the new Miranda. That is true. Originally, because I think especially at the time she had a deal with Nickelodeon. Or she was doing something with Nickelodeon. I wouldn't have been surprised at all if they made that happen. Yeah, but now she's an MLP, so yeah. We're not going to let this turn into a brony stream, no matter how much I want to talk about MLP extensively. I might have to talk about it at some point. But I will just say real fast that the new My Little Pony movie is amazing. And G5 looks very promising so far. The music is great. Anyways, slight distraction aside. Let's see. A clarification, if you didn't see before, what I meant earlier is that they've used the curly Q frame shape within the world being skidooed into, despite it not being what's being skidooed into. Hold on. A clarification. They've used the curly Q frame shape within the world being skidooed into. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about now. You're saying how sometimes when they skidoo into a random item, they skidoo out of a frame. Is that what you mean? If that's what you mean, then I get that. That is a little strange. Is that what you mean? I think I finally get it. I think so. Shannon was great as Miranda. I wish she would come back. Shannon was great. Shannon Walker-Williams, I believe is her name. She was great. Like, I don't understand people who don't like Miranda. I haven't encountered that many people, but, how could you not like her? People say she was awkward. That was kind of the point. She was kind of an awkward character. She was shy. There was, an awkward presence between her and Steve, which, again, is why I shipped them. But it was good. I think that was, I think that was intentional, and I think it worked for her character. I don't think she was, like, too awkward. She was great. Yeah, oh, okay, so Ryan said yeah. Okay, so, yeah, that's what I think is, that's fair, that they skidoo into something that's not a frame and skidoo out of a frame. I mean, to be fair, they are skidooing out of, like, a different location. Usually that's connected to a frame, so I see why they're doing it. But I can also see why that's a little confusing. Like in the Christmas episode, they skidoo into a snow globe and out the frame, yeah. No, yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, that's something that they've done a lot in this reboot, I've noticed, is that they skidoo into something, and, like, they skidoo into one area and out of a different area. Like, they don't go back like they used to. Originally in Blue's Clues, they would skidoo in from somewhere, and then when they were leaving, they would run back to that place and skidoo back through there. But now they do this thing where they skidoo in, and then they skidoo out in a different area. I'm assuming to save time, which is fair, so they don't have to run back every time, and they can introduce some new areas at the same time, so I totally get it. But yeah, it's definitely an adjustment to make. Or, like in Welcome to Blue's Bistro, they skidooed into a picture in the kitchen, yet skidooed out of the frame in the living room, yeah. It's definitely a weird adjustment, but it's something I've gotten used to, because they've done a lot, especially in Season 2. Whew. Alright, one more sip of water. My throat is getting sore. Man. Also, we've been going for an hour 12 now, and this is why this is a 2-part review. Because, my god, imagine if I tried to get every single thing I want to talk about into one single live stream, I would be going all night. Alright. So, next up, let me double check again. The music, yes. Now, you're going to have to bear with me in certain areas, because the issue is I can't really show examples of the music. I can only describe it. I probably could risk it if I wanted to, but I don't want to, because I don't want YouTube to get mad at me. And I'm already using images from the show throughout this whole thing, and that concerns me. So I'd rather not push my luck. So I will have to describe the music in certain areas. But, yes. So this is probably going to be a fairly short section. That being said, the music in the new show I think is really good. This is where it's going to get nitpicky. This is where I'm going to start really, like, I have some things to say. So a lot of it good, some of it less. It's a thing. So, the main thing that I've noticed in the reboot is that the music, a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, is very, it feels much more acoustic. Like, obviously because they're pushing the whole Josh playing guitar thing. So, obviously, it's going to, like, factor into the style of the music. But that's what I've noticed. Like, a lot of the transitional music and a lot of the main line of songs, like, like the letter song and, they call it a letter song. The We Just Got a Letter song, So Long song, the To Play Blue's Clues. They all sound a lot more acoustic than they used to. Which is not bad. But there's a part of me that does, at times, prefer the original. Like, especially when it comes to the music during transitions. A lot of the times in Blue's Clues, they will sort of, like, have a song, this little musical number, that will happen, between when they are, like, going from one location to another, between scenes. And it feels like, nowadays the music is very simple and very short and, again, very acoustic. Whereas in the original, it was a bit more jazzy. And I kind of prefer the jazzy. Like, it had such a feel to it. Because I feel like originally in the show, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the creators of the show and behind the scenes, other people of the show, they have mentioned how they wanted the show to have this, like, jazzy take to it, this jazzy music to it. Like, that was the intention. And they don't really have that anymore. Not to the same, extent. Again, a lot of it is acoustic because, it feels a bit more modern, and again, it ties into Josh's guitar. So, again, the new music isn't bad. The new music for transitions and, everything else, the acoustic feel of it is not bad. But the issue is that I have the original show to compare it to. Again, the issue in a lot of things sometimes is that just we have the original show to compare to. Which is always going to be difficult for a reboot, for any reboot. But, So when I look at the music of the new show on its own, again, the transition music or the clue music or anything, with the acoustic, more modern vibe, on its own, without considering the original, it's great. It perfectly fits the vibe of the show. It's really catchy. It's really nice. It's all pleasant, and I love it all. I guess it's just the issue is when I think about the original show and what used to be the case, what the music used to sound like, and how jazzy it was, and how, like, you know, you can kind of recognize these tracks, and it was really fun to listen to. It made going from one room to another this, like, event. It's something I miss. So, yeah, what I'm trying to say, at the end of the day, like, if I can sum up, is that for the transition music, the music in the new reboot is very good, but if compared to the original show, I personally think it lacks a bit. Even though it's perfectly fitting to the show. Again, the lacking of it is not an issue of the show. It's just an issue of knowing what we used to have and missing it. So that was a very convoluted way to explain what I was trying to say. I apologize. This is how I do. As for the other songs, obviously, again, you know, something we'll talk about later is that there have been remake episodes, so there are songs from the original that came back. Including, of course, the songs that show up every episode. Again, like To Play Blue's Clues, you know, We Just Got a Letter, or, you know, Email in this case. Again, we'll talk about that soon. Or the So Long song. Those have gotten updates. Those every episode songs have gotten updates. And they're all a little bit different. To Play Blue's Clues is, I don't know if I should exactly say slower. I think they're pretty similar, you know, speeds. But it definitely has a very different vibe to it. It feels... How do I explain it? It's, It's weird trying to explain this music that I can't show an example for. So I apologize if I am not doing the best job. But, comparatively, I don't know, I almost want to say the new one is, like, bouncier. It's... Again, they're trying to go with the acoustic vibe. It's a bit more... It's, again, less jazzy, less of, like, a flowy, like, instrumental song, but more of just, like, this... Gosh. I'm not a music person, if you can't tell, so it's hard to describe exactly the differences. But there is very much a different feeling to it, is the most I can say. Again, something that I had to get used to originally, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people had to get used to with all these songs is the case. But again, like with a lot of things with the show, even though it's something I had to get used to for a while, I still think it's really, really good. And there are points where I almost prefer the new versions, like We Just Got a Letter, which I feel like this is going to be a hot take. This is going to be a hot take. But I kind of prefer the new We Just Got a Letter as compared to the old one. And that is not something that a lot of people are going to agree with because the original is their childhood. But I don't know, when I was a kid personally, I was not a fan of it. There's something about We Just Got a Letter that I never really liked singing. But this new one, when I first heard it, I couldn't stop singing it. It's... Again, there's such a different feel to it as compared to the original that I just really, really like. Yeah, and I feel the same way with the So Long song. Again, it's not a song I liked singing along to in the original, but with this new version, again, it has this different flow, it has this different vibe to it, with the, you know, again, with the acoustic vibe, the more modern music to it, that for some reason I like a lot more personally. And again, that's not something that everyone's going to agree with. A lot of people are going to see the original music as completely perfect in every way, and something that they, you know, it can't be beat. But I don't know, there are times where I kind of like the new ones better than the old ones almost. Maybe it's because it was the same tune as the other songs? Maybe. Yeah, I don't really know. There's something about these new ones, these new versions that are a little bouncier, a little bit, like, I don't know. It's, again, I don't want to say better necessarily, not objectively, because it's just sort of different. I think it's better, though. In some areas. Again, I still love the originals, but I can really appreciate these new ones, and I personally find them a lot more fun to sing along to. As for the other songs on the show, again, every song that they've remade, I think, you know, from the original show, because they've brought songs back like Colors, like, what was it, Colors Everywhere, the song from the Gross show, I believe, The Oranges Grow on Trees, The Planet song, etc. I don't remember exactly all of them at this current moment, but every song that they've remade from the original, again, I think most of them tend to be slight improvements on the original. They have a bit more of a flow to them that the original, not that the original didn't really have, but that just sort of improves a little bit off of what the original was. It's just like a slightly crisper, like almost slightly more evolved version that, again, I don't know if I should say is better, but I personally kind of like better. The one that I don't think works as well personally is Colors Everywhere. And that, that's just my personal thing, is that Josh's version felt a bit softer, almost like lullaby-esque to me, compared to Joe's, which really wasn't. So I kind of prefer that's the one case of where I feel like the song was better than the original, especially. But again, most of the time they do it really, really well. They've adapted these songs so well. And speaking of music, I know we talked about the To Play Blues Clues song, and just, the main, recurring episode songs. But what I haven't mentioned yet is the fact that in this reboot especially, and they did this rarely in the original. Very quite rarely. But, we have some song variations. We have some instrumental variations and some lyric variations on these songs. In Sad Day, the entire track, and this is something that they didn't do in the original, the music of the episode, for the most part, almost all of it, has this sadder vibe, to fit the fact that Blue in that episode is sad. In the Christmas episode, everything has, bells in it, and it has a more Christmassy vibe. There's a beach episode where everything sounds a bit more like Surfer. They do this amazing thing with the songs where, they fit the instrumentals, to these special episodes with special variations to better fit the themes of the episodes. There's a pirate episode that has, a more pirate vibe to the music that is just so perfect. There's something about that episode that the music, it's just so perfect to me. I love it so much. And it's not even always just the instrumentals. Sometimes it's the lyrics. In the, What's Funny? What is that? What was it? What was it like Laugh with Blue? Is the What's Funny remake? The funny one. In the original, Steve pulls out a potato instead of the notebook, and that's a silly moment. But in the reboot, Josh kind of rolls with it, and he just grabs the potato, and for the entirety of To Play Blues Clues, the word notebook is replaced with potato, and they refilm it with him with the potato. It's just the level of detail that I really love, that they keep changing the song, and the instrumentals and the lyrics of certain things. Like in the nature episode, Josh sits on the thinking rock, similar to the original, and they reflect that in the while singing the song. And I think they did that in the original too, but it just happens a lot more often with these, and with these new episodes, with this reboot. And I love how much they changed these recurring episode songs, because, listen, I'm a huge fan of Blue's Clues, of course, but here's the issue. As much as I love Blue's Clues, after a while, you are going to get a little bit tired of hearing the same exact songs, sang the same exact way, with the same exact instrumentals, episode by episode by episode, continuously forever. It gets a little bit old. They're great songs, they truly are, but after a while, it gets a bit tiring. So it's nice that in the reboot, they've really tried to take those recurring songs and provide more variations to them, and to change them up here and there, and quite often too, to the point where now it really could, episode to episode, who knows, there could be a variation, you never really know. It always kind of surprises you, and it's nice to be able to have that so that you don't get tired of the songs, that, they put these variations so that, it just gives you a little bit, it's a fresher feel every time you do it. So that way you don't get tired. And that's something that I really appreciated with the music of this reboot especially. Because I do get tired of the songs sometimes. But when it comes to these, and when you change it up a little bit each time, it helps you get tired of it less. Because at least there are times where there's different lyrics or different instrumentals that you can be like, okay, at least it's different. But yeah. overall the music is really well done. And, whether it's, music they bring back, oh, actually, wait, I need to mention something. Because there have been some newer songs that they've added, but I just need to bring attention to one. In Blues Rainy Day Rainbow, they sing about rainbows in that episode. And I'm going to be honest, that is the best song, potentially, of the entire series, old and new. That's a big statement. It's definitely, I think, the best song in the reboot, but it's definitely one of my favorite things ever. That song is amazing. They got Meghan Trainor for that, to be the rainbow and to sing as the rainbow, and that song is just really great. It almost doesn't feel like a Blues Clues song, weirdly enough, to me anyways. I remember hearing that for the first time, and I was like, that sounds a lot more like an MLP song than a Blues Clues song. I don't know what it was about it. There was just this, extra groove to it that I was like, that is abnormal, but it's so good. So, even when they do original songs, they've been doing really well with, all the music. But yeah, going back to my sum up, the music is amazingly done. Everything they do in the show is so good. Some of the songs are going to take some time to get used to for new viewers, of course, but overall, they've done a really good job capturing the feel of the original show while updating it still. Again, that's what I can say about a lot of things in the show. They've updated it without taking away the initial feel. And that is something that's, again, very important for reboots, because you always want to try to capture the original's magic, but you also, you want to update it so that it looks a bit brighter, that, you can tell the difference, that you can have this newer, fresher look on it, especially as newer technology comes around. So it's really nice to see how faithful they've been to the show. But yeah, all right. What do you guys think about the music? Anything you guys want to talk about the music while I take a drink? Oh, my Lord. Whew. We got 2 more sections to talk about, and then I'm going to go pass out. And I'm going to go let my voice die. Because, wow. Going on an hour and a half. There we go. But yeah, what do you guys think of the music? What do we got? Now you say it, holy cow, the Rainbow song would really fit into MLPG 4 specifically, it would. Oh yeah, there's another song you haven't mentioned. What about the opening theme song? How did I not mention that? Okay. I can't believe I didn't mention that. That's ridiculous that I didn't talk about that. I might have actually talked about it on the channel before in a BCN, but, to talk about it again. The opening theme song is absolutely amazing. It is a bop. It is amazing. It is so good. The whole opening sequence is really beautiful. The animation of it is amazing, and seeing Josh running through the neighborhood is so good. It's definitely the most intricate theme song that they've had thus far, with, Steve's one obviously being just, instrumental music with no lyrics zooming in on the house, and Joe's is a bit more where it's actually a song, but this new one, these theme songs just keep getting better, because this new theme song is so good. Written and produced, I don't know produced, but I made at least, I can say made, by Peter Zizzo, who actually commented on the channel once, so that was pretty cool. But he did a really great job, and Josh did an amazing job singing it. It's so catchy. I still remember when it first came out, I could not stop listening to it. It was so good. It is so good. And you know what, if I may switch back to animation and design for a second, let me just mention that there have also been variations visually on the theme songs, for certain special episodes. I believe it started with the Halloween, the costume party episode. It was either costume party or thankful, whichever of those came first. Yeah, they switched it up. They made it look, actually no, it started, did it start with Pajama Party? It started somewhere, where they started doing, something that, they didn't really do in the original series. I think they did once or maybe a couple times with, once or twice at least with Steve's era. I don't think they ever did it with Joe's era, though. But they've done this thing where, the theme song will reflect what season it is. or sort of like the theme of the episode. So like there are times where at the end of the theme song it'll switch over to night sort of gradually, or for the rainy day episode it starts raining while the theme song goes, or for the fall episode everything, all the trees have orange leaves, and you know it has this orangey fall feel, like you know the pumpkins will be out and such like that. And for the Christmas episode everything's covered in snow, and Josh even re-recorded it with a winter outfit. So it's just an amazing attention to detail to see these theme songs reflect the different seasons and looks of the show. It's happened quite a few times now. It's not like a perfectly regular thing because it doesn't need to be. But it's so nice to see that they care enough to put that level of detail in there. Because there is nothing that bothers me more in the original series than seeing them like zoom in to the house at day and then see it suddenly be night inside the house. Or like, I think this happened on a Joe episode, Blue's First Holiday, where it's supposed to be snowy out, and then we go to the house, and then like, outside it looks like perfect spring weather, but then when you're inside it's like, oh no, it's actually snowing outside. Oops, it's winter. So it was an issue, but I'm glad that they have fixed that in the new series. It also happens in Blue's Big Treasure Hunt too. That's true. They definitely did alter the intro for that. Where they just cut the intro entirely and they're just like, oh no, it's actually mail time now. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I like the remake of the Imagination song. I have an opinion on the Imagination song. I think the new version is good. I really do. I think it has a nice vibe to it. Although I do want to say I think I prefer the original. Because the new one is very good. It sounds really nice. It feels very poppy. But I like the original one because it sounded a bit more like magical, mystical in the way they did the instruments in that one. So I think that one better fits the feeling that they were trying to go for Imagination. But I still like the new one a lot, though. So, that being said. Again, that's one of the few times, again, where I feel like I prefer the original a little bit better in that regard. But, yeah. There was a very minor one in Joe's era with the addition of a crowing chicken. Really? I don't remember that one. I believe you, though. Oh, man. I also didn't talk about the Mail Time song. I didn't talk about the Mail Time song. Admittedly, probably because, it's pretty much the same. I feel like, a lot of the other recurring songs, they did change up a bit, but Mail Time kind of stayed, I believe, assuming I'm remembering correctly, it stayed pretty much exactly the same. It's pretty much identical to the original. So there's really not much to say about it. They do it really well. Josh sings it really well. The male whale is, there as ever. Very similar more to Joe's male whale than Steve's almost Pee Wee Herman-esque male whale. But still very good. But yeah, the male song is basically exactly what it always was. So yeah. Ryan's talking about morning music. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because, morning, you have that, like, rooster in the morning. So that's fair. Whew. Just, as my arm goes off screen. Just, like, I wish I could, like, have my arms out to make it look like I'm, like, leaning on the chair, but I can't. Because this is where the camera ends. Mail Time, but with acoustic guitars, and I think slightly faster. I don't know if it's faster. It could be. It really could be. I remember Steve himself saying his mail whale was inspired by Pee Wee Herman. Okay. I thought I had that right. Because I remember hearing that from somewhere, and I wasn't exactly sure. So that's good. Mixed with Grover? I mean, I can hear it. That's very, very fair. But yeah, alright. I think if that's enough about the music, I'm trying to think if there's any other music bits that I can talk about before moving on. Or if you guys have any more questions about my thoughts about the music or whatever, before I talk about the next thing. Also, side note, I love how I said that the music section was going to be not that much, and then it kind of was quite a long segment, because there was a lot more to that than I remembered I was going to talk about. Oh, gosh. Also, I noticed both Steve and Joe did that thing to where, when it was mail time, and they were already in the living room, they'd run off screen and jump back into frame while singing mail time. Did they? I don't remember that, but I believe you. I definitely believe you. I think I might remember one instance of that in my mind, but that is strange. They have to like run off screen so they can jump back in. The Mail Time song will always be a good legend. That's fair. I feel like that's definitely one of the few songs they felt like they really couldn't change. Because, you know, as much as they can update a lot of other songs, the Mail Time song is, I don't want to say exactly it's the most iconic, but it feels like that's the one a lot of people remember. Unless you consult the video where they're showing off a bunch of the possible new hosts. If you remember that, when they were looking for new hosts, they made a video of a bunch of people auditioning who apparently couldn't remember the Mail Time lyrics. You know, even though they're very simple lyrics and everyone there should have some basic knowledge about Blue's Clues. I don't know how you messed up that hard. It's so easy. I'm trying to think if I can do it now. I should be able to do it now. I should be able to prove my worth. I know Blue's Clues. I know the Mail song. I'm thinking about it right now and I'm just like, do I remember the lyrics? I hope I do. It would be really embarrassing if I just completely insulted those people and then didn't know what I was thinking. Didn't know the actual lyrics. I'm blanking on it now. Because now I've put myself on the spot. Here's the mail, it never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail mail, I believe. I hope I got that right. I'm sitting in the thinking chair. I should have that right. I'm wearing a striped shirt. I mean, these are the obligations, folks. Whew. Let's see, what else we got? I've said before, I'm so happy they picked Josh and not any of the people in those videos. Yeah, and no offense to those people in the videos. I don't mean to, like, insult them, obviously. But there is a point where I'm just like, if you go to a Blue's Clues audition, you know, as a fan, and claiming to be a fan, you should know how one of the songs that happens every single episode goes. Like, I don't know how you could possibly not get that right. If you've seen all these episodes and you claim to be such a big fan and you're dressed as Steve, it's like you need to... If you buy a Steve shirt, you must know how the Mail song goes. That's a requirement. You're not allowed to buy a Steve shirt unless you have the... That should be the requirement. They should have that on the websites where you can buy Steve shirts. They just be like, okay, to buy the shirt, first you need to fill in the blanks for this Mail song. If you don't get it right, you can't buy the shirt. Because if you don't get it right, you don't deserve the shirt. I don't mean to be the Blue's Clues police, but you know. I love Steve, Don, and Josh reacted to their episodes. That was great. That was a great video. That was great. It's also good to see that you have not gave up on the Blue's Clues content, Diddlebox. You're amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. And no, I always knew I was going to come back to Blue's Clues content at some point. Again, it's definitely not something that I want my whole channel to be, like it was that one year. I think it was 2019, where my whole channel became Blue's Clues for a while, and that's definitely not the intention. It's just what I really felt motivated to make at the time. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, this is not a Blue's Clues channel. It's just a channel that happens to have a very big Blue's Clues boy here. So, it happens. It's funny, I remember they said no striped shirts during auditions. Did they really? I mean, that makes sense that they would want that, because maybe they wanted to make sure people weren't just trying to copy Steve and wanted to, like, people to be their own host. But yeah. Same with Joe. What if Donovan didn't get the part as second host? What if they chose someone who wasn't good at all? Ooh. Yeah. They would have got canceled. Would have got canceled real fast. I mean, it did eventually get canceled, but it would have got canceled sooner. Oh. That's what people who hate Joe don't seem to get. I know. People who hate Joe, I don't understand it. I really don't. Because, well, here's the thing. I think the majority of people who hate Joe hate him because he was different. Because Steve left, and Joe is not Steve. And, like Steve mentioned in his recent message, his leaving was abrupt, of course. But even that being said, and of course it broke me, but, Joe really wasn't that bad. I don't see what people have against him. I get he's not Steve, but he's Joe. He's great. I don't know. Was he always 100% perfect? No. But was he great? Yeah. I was sad to see Steve go. Believe you me, I was a broken person on the day that Steve left. But at the same time, I'm not over it. And when I started seeing Joe, yeah, I was it an adjustment at first? Of course it was, but I got used to him. I love Joe just as much. I tried to get his notebook for the longest time. Random story before we move on to the next section. Once upon a time, I went to Toys R Us as a young child. And by young child, I mean whatever age I would have been around the time that Joe was a thing. Which wasn't as young as a child should be for Blue's Clues. I shouldn't say that. We're all Blue's Clues fans, and it doesn't matter how old we are. But, I'll always be a little self-conscious. But, no, yeah, so I went to Toys R Us looking for a Joe notebook because they were supposed to have them there. But I get there, and all they have are the shirt notebooks. Do you guys remember the shirt notebooks? The ones that they sold just to make money a little bit? Which, fair. I'm not saying that it's horrible that they did that. I totally understand why they did, and the notebooks weren't bad. But it's not the notebook I wanted. And I think I still got one, though, just because I wanted to go home with a notebook. But still, I didn't like those notebooks as much, personally. Let me see what you guys... What if they picked Gilbert Gottfried? What if Gilbert Gottfried was the host of Blue's Clues? I'd still watch it. I don't know if I'd like it, but I would try it. I like Gilbert Gottfried well enough. I used to hate Joe back in the day, but nowadays I like him. Steve and Josh, too. Yeah. Like I said, I understand people, having a hard time adjusting to Joe at first, but, people who just say he's horrible and that he was the worst host, he was still great. I own the Flying Colors Joe blue shirt notebook. I got it for my birthday a while back. Fair. Again... they made shirt notebooks. Yeah, so Guppy, for reference, they wanted to make more money, so they made more notebooks. Because Joe's notebooks at the time didn't have the variations that they did later on, at first. So they made notebooks that were shaped like his shirt, and they had different color variations, like the different colors of his shirt. And they sold those as alternative notebooks. I don't exactly know why, again, other than money, but fair. I understand it. They're a company. They need to make some money, but yeah. What color shirt notebook did you get, if you remember? I'm only half sure that I actually got one, if I'm honest. I feel like if I got one, it was probably orange. Orange or green? Maybe. I don't know. I used to have Blue's Clues notebooks. I don't know where they all went. I used to have the Steve Nighttime notebook. I used to have the Joe Pillow notebook from Bedtime Business, I believe. I think I had the Treasure notebook. I'm pretty sure I did. And then one day they disappeared. I think I had the original notebook too, the original Steve notebook. And I might have eventually gotten a Joe notebook, like a normal one. I have no idea where they all went. They just disappeared. I don't know if, they just got lost or if they're somewhere in this house. I've been in this apartment for 20 years of my life, so maybe they're just buried under the floorboards. I don't know where they went. But I used to have the notebooks. I don't know where they went. I still have a few of the Toy Joe notebooks, but I also have the handcrafted Joe shirt notebooks too. Alright. Morocco notebook with blue on it. I heard of that one. I never had that one, but I've heard of it. They even made a Joe Holiday notebook, which should have been used in Blue's First Holiday if there was a game of Blue's Clues. That's fair. That's fair. Blue's First Holiday was a great episode, though. That's one of my favorite episodes of Blue's Clues. I actually forgot to mention when I was talking about favorite episodes. That's the thing about me. I never remember favorites when I'm asked favorites. It takes, like, the moment someone asks me my favorites, everything erases from my head. Whew, alright. Next up, let me double check. There we go. Updated technology. After I clear my throat. This actually should be a pretty swift section, because most of what I have to say about the notebook and the emails are going to be in next week's stream, in the nitpick stream. So I'm saying a lot of baseline stuff. So let's talk first about the emails, because most of that's going to be saved for next week. So, actually, I can't talk about the emails before we talk about the phone. So, let's talk about the notebook phone. The handy-dandy notebook phone, because this is something that I remember being scared of. Like, a little scared of at first. Because I remember my green screen's freaking out. Hold on. Keep the illusion alive. I only have 2 more things to talk about. Is it? We're gonna roll with it. So, the handy-dandy notebook phone, something that I was really nervous about. I was nervous when the reboot came out and they started talking about the notebook. And I believe Josh had mentioned that there was going to be something different about the notebook. There was going to be something we didn't expect. The green screen's really freaking out. Oh my gosh, come on. There was going to be something we didn't expect. And that was something that really concerned me, because I was like, okay, we're doing... Oh my gosh. Okay. Bear with me. So, yeah, I was worried right off the bat that they were going to try to make it digital, which concerned me, because I was like, of course they're going to make it digital. It's new age, it's new technology. Kids now have, like, cell phones and tablets. Of course they're going to try to bring it more into the 21st century and, like, really try to enhance the technology of it all, especially because they got rid of the phone on the side table. So I remember being really concerned at the time. And then as we started seeing the notebook, I remember the moment I saw the shape of it, I was like, okay, that's definitely it has to be a phone. There's no reason to have it be a rectangle like that shape if it's not going to be some sort of device. So I was very concerned. And then we finally got to see it. So if I can just pull that up now, we can see if I can sift through my many tabs. Here we go. Boop. So we have the notebook phone. This was shown off in, of course, the first episode. And I kind of love it. And this is something I never would have expected that I would like. Because, again, I was so scared originally that this was going to be a thing, because I was worried they were going to try too hard to make it digital, and they were going to try way too hard, like, to make it modern. But luckily, what they did do is that it's, of course, half notebook, half phone. The front is the notebook, the back is the phone, which is the best way they could have possibly done it, because, they didn't try to make it too digital. They didn't make it like a phone and a stylus. They made it so that they still keep the original feeling of the notebook, making sure that we can still have those crayon drawings and the pages, and something that they could of course make those types of toys out of, while also making it a bit more modern and adding some potential with a phone option, which, as we see in the first episode, is used to in the first 2 episodes specifically, and later on a bit too, where they can make calls, video calls, with people, which is a really interesting addition and something that they can definitely do things with. And of course, it provides, now that it's a phone, we have the option for, like, apps, which comes up in an episode, Colors Everywhere, where we actually skidoo into an app on the phone. So it's interesting. The phone provides a lot of opportunities. If I had to say my issue with the phone, though, is that I feel like it's been kind of underutilized. So, here's the thing. The phone's great. The phone idea is really good. I really like it. I like how they established it. I like how they, the things that it can do so far. It's really good. But they never really use it. The majority of things they use it for is, like, a couple of calls in Season 1. And by a couple calls in Season 1, I mean a call in the first and second episode, and then once in like the song time episode, which is like episode 5 or something. It's very early on, and then again, and then the color app, and then they haven't touched it since. They've used it. It's been a focus in 4 episodes out of these 2 seasons. And they just don't really use it enough. And it feels like it's a really big change that they aren't using enough. Like, it feels like if they wanted to make this big of a change, like, they would have more to do with it to make it seem worth it, to make it seem worth the change. But so far, they've only used it very, very occasionally. Which it's fair, maybe they can't find a lot of ways to incorporate it just yet, or, of course, the first season was all remakes, so they couldn't really incorporate it too often there without it seeming forced, and this past season has been their first season of fully original episodes for the most part. So maybe it will come into play more as time goes on, because we know we are getting more seasons past this. I think we're, like, confirmed up until season 4 at least right now, plus the movie. So I'm sure it'll come up more and more as time goes on, but so far it's really only been used in those 4 instances, and then of course emails, which, let's talk about emails for a second. So again, I'm going to talk a lot more about emails for, in next week's stream, and the nitpick stream. But, so emails are, I don't want to say the new letters, but a new variation of letters. Because now, instead of just, getting a letter, what can happen sometimes is Josh gets this little notification on his phone, this little ring, that has this mailbox app, which will open up into an email, which, has this little email boy who doesn't talk or do anything, so I don't really know why he has a face, but it's adorable, so I will let it slide. And the issue with this is, even though you can say that this is them using the notebook, it's not really using the notebook for anything that's too different, or that's adding anything to the show that they didn't already have. Because the emails, and I'll get into this more next week, but the emails function basically exactly the same as letters. They really don't change much. The only real change is to the form that we're getting them in, but emails have the same style and the same, length as, any letter that we would get, which, let me be very clear, we still do get letters in this show. I feel a lot of people, and this has been a real, nitpick with me about just the fandom. Everyone keeps trying to say that emails have replaced the letters, and I did the thing again, oops, where they replaced the letters. Can you tell I don't stream often here? So, people keep saying how they have replaced the letters with emails, and that, Mailbox is out of a job, and they tried too hard to make it all digital, and now letters are dead, even though that was a big part of the show. Letters are still very much a thing. Letters, I don't know how, the people who are saying this obviously aren't watching the same show as we are, because letters are still obviously very much a thing. In fact, letters, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, and I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, we have gotten a much larger amount of letters than we've gotten of emails. So, these people who complain really have nothing to complain about. And Mailbox shows up, whether it's letter or email, so it really doesn't matter. People just want to complain. They really do. But, back to the emails, though. Yeah, the phone is used for the email, but because the emails aren't different from the letters in any way other than the fact that it's, a phone instead of an envelope, again, it isn't much of a difference. It isn't much of a new thing, so I don't even really like to count it as a use of the phone, because it's just taking up the use of something that we already have and still get. So, yeah, that's the thing about the notebook phone. I really like it. And I really hope in the future that they utilize it a bit more. But so far, they just haven't used it too much. And I feel like it has a lot of potential. So they definitely can do more with it in the future. But right now, they really haven't yet. And the little that they have, again, with the emails, it isn't really necessary because it's just sort of doing something that we already have something else for. And even with the color app from Colors Everywhere, The issue, I'm trying not to sneeze. The issue is the fact that that's just taking up the place of a book in the original episode. Originally in Colors Everywhere in the original episode with Joe, he skidoos into a book to talk to these colors. In this one, they skidoo into a color app on the phone. Again, it's not a new feature of the phone like the video call was. It's just a slight change. And honestly, I don't like both for that skidoo for that episode because it feels like the obvious answer should have been a page covered in paint because we're talking to color blobs that are mixing and the whole episode is about paint, so it feels like that should have been that. So I don't like either episode skidoo, but it's okay. They're still great. But, yeah, so at the end of the day, I really like what they've done with the notebook phone. I don't think it's an issue. I really don't think it's trying too hard to be modern. I just wish they would use it more. And again, if the letters, again, I'll get more into it next week, and I have some ways I would fix it. But for emails as well, again, an interesting concept that doesn't seem to be utilized properly because it's still just doing the same thing that we already have with letters, especially when we still are getting letters. So, yeah, those are my little issues with the, updated technology of the show so far. They're good ideas that haven't been, they haven't really reached their potential because, yeah, they're just not being utilized fully or properly or, to the extent of what they could do. Yet, again, we've only gotten one season of fully original episodes and the other season of remakes, so I'm sure that, as time goes on, they'll have more wiggle room to do what they want, and they'll utilize these features a bit more and maybe change them up, but those are my thoughts on them right now. Yes, what do you guys think so far with the, in terms of the notebook phone and emails? There have also been rumors that some of the people are having a hard time getting used to Josh, too. Yeah. A lot of people have to get used to these hosts and a lot of the changes. Again, people in general tend to not like change, I've noticed, especially in fandoms. Everyone always struggles with change. The only thing I don't like about Josh's notebook is that in almost every other episode, they change up his notebook too often. Especially in Season 2. I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about notebook variations, I'm not sure. I know next week I'm going to be talking about the notebook variations. Stay tuned for that, because I have some things to say. I'm still dreaming of an episode where Steve, Joe, and Josh play Blue's Clues together and use each of their notebooks. Oh, I wish. That would be amazing. That's something I really hope for someday. Oh, I gotta love it. I hope. Got here a bit late, gonna have to catch up on the replay. But I'll just say it's surreal watching Blue's Clues news now after how far the series has come. It really is. There are times I've looked back at the episodes. I don't do it often, but I've looked back at episodes of BC&Y and it's like, wow, it's crazy to see these things that used to be like this big news and this big piece of information and my opinions of what it would be then and seeing what it is now and like in its full form. It's fascinating. I think both are welcome additions and they fit well today. Yeah, they do. Again, that's the thing, is that they're not bad and they're not, like, intrusive to the show. I just think they can do more, with those. I really do. And I think they will over time. The variants, the notebook variants, I'm assuming you mean, seem so much blander than the original show. I'm going to talk about that next week. I am. That's going straight up, and that's a whole section in the nitpick video is where I talk about the notebook variants. Because I do have a lot to say about those. Yeah, I have a lot to say about that and the emails. And next week I'm going to talk about, one, how I would fix the notebook variants, and two, how I would fix the emails, because I have answers for that. But, that'll be in its own video. Its own stream. Since this one's already going on 2 hours and I still have one more thing to talk about. Not bad, just weaker. No, that's fair. I'll just touch upon it in just a quick moment. The notebook variants in this series, I will say I don't think live up to the expectations set by the original one. By the original series' notebook variations. Again, they're not horrible, but they leave something to be desired. But yeah. The one thing I want to know is, how is Josh going to charge his notebook? That's fair. I don't see a charging port. There must be one. Maybe we just can't see it. That's you know what? That's a funny idea. I like the idea that maybe there's like a charger inside of side table somehow. I don't know how that would work, but just like while the notebook is in side table, while she's holding it, like it's being charged somehow. Maybe it's like one of those like wireless charger things. That'd be cool. That would be cool. Let's see what else are you guys saying. I like the updated technology in the show. I'm glad they don't rub it in your face, unlike most shows. That's fair, yeah. Some shows will, like, update technology of certain things, and they'll really shove it in your face, and they'll really be like, look, we have a phone now! Like, and that's unfortunate, because it's, like, it's one thing to try to, like, keep updated with the times and, like, have that more relatable technology that kids are dealing with. But it's another thing to really try a little too hard to focus on it. And to really try to make it more of a focus, like, look at what we have, as opposed to what they do in Blue's Clues New so far. And it's definitely new and it's a thing, but it's not like they focused on it so much. It was like try to make it a real big thing, like, look at this phone all the time, like every episode. So I'm glad they didn't. Another question, how is it possible to take photos with the phone? Oh! I see what you mean, because with a phone normally, I can just grab my phone. Of course, the camera is on this side for, like, if you were to take a picture like that. That is fair. I guess on his phone you can only take selfies, so it would be on, like, the screen side. I suppose that would be the solution to that. I don't know, did they take a picture that wasn't they might have done. I mean, I guess the only other, like, thing is that, like, if you, because it's, the phone itself is a cover, so maybe on the other side of it, just like underneath, like between the back cover and the pages, like there's a camera on the other side that we just can't see. Maybe. That's the best I can do for that. And then maybe like they have to like flip it around. It wouldn't be convenient to take a picture with that in that regard. But yeah. I don't see why they had to stripe the cover when the inside of it is a solid blue, but I'm not too bothered. Honestly, I really like the look of the new notebook. I forgot to talk about that. The look of the new notebook. The visually, I really like it. You know, the stripes in the front, the thing chair. It's very classic. I like how it resembles Steve's a bit more. I didn't know what direction they were originally gonna go with the notebook, because originally, after Joe's notebook, I didn't know where they were gonna go, because they strayed away from like the more notebook shape into a thinking chair shape. So I was wondering if they were going to do another like item type of thing. Like originally my idea was that they could like make a notebook that was based on the frame, like the yellow frame, since that's also iconic to the show. But no, they went more the Steve route, and I really like what they did with it. Color-wise, it looks really nice. The inside is definitely the more solid blue than the stripes on the outside, but I think that's just because it didn't need to be stripy. Just because it's on the inside, so it doesn't really matter. Let's see. I mean, we technically see the phone all the time, but you're right, it's not in the sense that, like, they're like, oh yeah, hey, look, it's a new thing we did. Yeah, that's the thing. Is that they're not shoving it in our face, which is, like, part of my problem, because I feel like they should do more with it. But I'm glad that they're also not, like, really shoving it into every episode they possibly can, except when they do emails. But again, that's not a big intrusion either. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whew, my voice is really starting to get lost. But I do have one more thing to talk about. I'm just going to take another sip. I'm really confused on what the camera is. Yeah, I know, that doesn't really work, camera-wise. It really is one of those things where you just have to, I guess, at a certain point realize it's a kid's show. It's not going to make perfect sense. The more detail they add, the less it's going to look probably, like, perfect, so. It's unfortunate that it's just, but, it's one of those things. Whew. Gosh. 2 hours in. We have one more thing to talk about. Oh, my. JFC production. Hey, it's Joe. Hey, Joe. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. My gosh. You're just in time for me to talk about the last thing for today. For this stream, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it at this point, but for reference, this is part 1 of a 2-part review Today's stream is part 1, and next Wednesday, same time, I will be doing another stream where I do part 2 of the review. This part has been the basics, where I talk about, I can show, so far we've talked about the animation and design, the host, the music, and the updated technology. We're about to get into the last thing. And then next week, I'm going to be talking about a lot of my nitpicks about the show, because I do have some. And not all of them are even constrained specifically to the show itself, but I won't spoil too much yet. Wink. But yeah, so, moving on to the last topic of today. If my voice will please hold out. So, if I can fix the green screen a little bit. I don't know why it's freaking out so much. I might have fixed it. And there went my hands. Alright, so last topic of today is about the episodes, which, in my mind, and many other minds, fall into 3 specific categories. Remakes, inspired, and originals. So, first we'll start off with the easy one, remakes. Season 1 of Blue's Clues New was entirely remakes. From episode 1 to episode last. Pardon me. I am so sorry. I need more water. Hold on. Oh my gosh, voice. You need to hold out for just like 20 or so minutes more. It's fine. Oh my. My voice is not accustomed to talking about this much Blue's Clues in one sitting, apparently. Anyways, remakes of Blue's Clues New. Remakes of Blue's Clues, rather. So yeah, season 1 was all remakes. They were all taken from the original series episodes from majority the Steve era, but 1 or 2, I don't know if it was more than 1, from the Joe era. With very minor changes, as Adam has just said. Very, very minor things, but more often than not, these remakes would stick very close, if not completely, to the script, to the original script of the show. Sometimes going word for word, certain jokes from the original episodes, dialogue and scenes. It was very verbatim. Except for the fact that they would sometimes have to cut out scenes from the original episodes, just because this show is like a couple minutes less time-wise. My phone's ringing, and I can't answer it. So, it's a couple minutes less time-wise than the original show. So they had to cut some things out. But yeah, other than that, they're pretty similar to the original. And as I mentioned during the host section, it does provide a bit of an issue to me personally, because, it's hard to judge the show and to enjoy the show for what it is when it's just a sort of attempted copy of the original. And not to say that any of those episodes were necessarily really bad, but they didn't stand up to the originals, in my opinion. Let me just check something. I'm sorry. Sorry, a moment. Just need to do one thing. I just need to message one person who's trying to call me, so that they know that I can't answer yet. Hold on. So, un momento, por favor. This stream. Okay, sorry. There we go. Okay. Anyways, yes, the remakes. Very similar to the originals, and it's hard to enjoy them when you remember the episodes that they were based on. And again, for someone like me, and for a lot of people here, when you grew up with the original show, it's really difficult to enjoy the new ones, which are just copying off the old ones. So season 1 for a lot of people was a very rough season. Seeing them just sort of go back to the classics, which again, I understand perfectly too, why they would want to go back to some of those classics, because they're classic episodes, and when you're rebooting a show, you want to try to bring back those hits, because especially with a show like this, these are episodes that had a big impact on a lot of kids. It's a lot of things that, taught a lot of kids a lot of things, and they're just very impactful episodes and very popular episodes. So if you're doing a reboot, and you know it's going to be for a new audience of kids and a new generation of kids. You want to bring back some of those most popular moments and episodes so that, though they can be shared with the new generation, which is completely fair. And I don't think that they shouldn't have done it. I really don't, because it makes sense, especially for a first season. You want to sort of ease in before you start getting to the original stuff by, one, paying homage to the original show, but two, sort of testing the waters with stuff that you already know works. Sort of easing people in before you start going off the script and into new scripts. So it's totally understandable. So that's the remakes. Not my favorite, genre of episodes, but they were good for what they were. I still very thoroughly enjoyed them. But not as much as what we're getting into next, which are the inspired episodes. This is where things stepped up a bit. And I believe it started with... I think it started with Blues Big Beat Band, I believe is the episode I'm thinking of. The musical episode from Season 2. Season 2 is where things started to take a turn. For the good, of course. Because there were these episodes that would be very similar to original episodes in theme. Like with Blues Big Beat Band, it's very much taking off as Blues Big Band, the original episode in the Joe era. And there's a similar game of Blue's Clues, and there is similar activities. Although at the same time, there are different clues and a different answer, while also having a different skidoo, and the activity that I mentioned is similar, originally had a different character. So we have this weird amalgamation where it's clearly, between the name and of course the plot is very similar, and even some of the activities are very similar to the original show's episode, but at the same time there are these new additions that are very wildly different from it. So is it a remake or is it original? It ends up being this sort of mix where it's, what we call an inspired episode, where it was clearly inspired by the original episode while taking its own liberties to make it a bit more new and original in comparison. You can sort of see the same sort of thing with episodes like Hide and Seek, which again, similar game but different answer, and slightly different activities. Blues Bistro is a very good example, which very clearly is taking off of the original episode Cafe Blue, but with, again, a new answer and a new sort of game, I think it was specifically, because it wasn't, in the original episode it was what were they going to serve for dessert, where this one it was what were they going to serve for lunch. And again, different skidoo, different, activity. So, yeah, there are these episodes that sort of fall in the middle, which were really refreshing, because after a season of remakes, even though those remakes did have some minor changes here and there, it was nice to see episodes that, even though they were still taking from the original show, also had these, much more new scenes, new skidoos, and new, scenes, and new dialogue, because those are where Josh really started to shine for me, because finally he was starting to get dialogue that I didn't recognize, and scenes and skidoos that I had not seen before. So it was very refreshing to see, but not as refreshing as when we went into original episodes. This started, I believe, in the episode Blues... Is it Blues Treasure Hunt? Is that what they call it? Blues Big Treasure Hunt? They like putting Blues Big in these titles. Blues Big and with Blue. Like, those are the title conventions here. But I believe it was called something about a treasure hunt. It was a treasure episode. Which originally, you would hear that and assume, okay, it's going to be a remake of the original Treasure Hunt episode where we have, Steve's grandma, but this time it'll be Josh's grandma, and, we'll have the backpack, and we'll do, this, the whole thing that we did in the original. And that's what we thought. Until suddenly, it was this completely different episode. Where, instead of it being a treasure hunt, it was they still had a treasure hunt involved, but it was a pirate theme. Which definitely threw a lot of people for a little bit of a switch, because we all expected, again, the name was so similar, so we expected it to be this thing, but it ended up being this original episode with its own theme that Blue's Clues never really did before, and, again, the music was different, the scenes were different, it was completely original, different skidoo, new game, it was a whole thing, and I just remember the moment I saw this episode, it immediately, and I mean immediately, became my favorite episode of the series at that time, of the reboot specifically, because after, again, a season of remakes and years since the last like truly new installment of Blue's Clues, truly new game of Blue's Clues, we finally get to this point where it's a new game with new clues, and I wasn't sure of the answer. Like, there was a moment where I was like, I don't know what the answer to this one could be, maybe. I mean, Nick Jr. kind of spoiled it a little bit in the promos, but we'll get to that next week. But yeah, it was amazing to see new episodes show up, these original episodes, for the first time in years, to see a fully original plot with fully original, like, scenes and dialogue and a game that hadn't been done. And this is where, again, Josh specifically really started to shine, because, again, now he wasn't going off of old scripts and old plots. This was now fully his own that he can make it. These new scripts, these new scenes that didn't have anything to compare to. And that's when the show really felt more free. And up until now, it feels a lot more like... It feels like it's reached its final full form. Where now it's these new episodes with this new host, this new animation. It's all come together to be finally its own thing, rather than fully leaning on the original show and its scripts. And that's a beautiful thing. Again, I still remember how hyped I was when I found out that these were new episodes and that, original episodes kept coming. Now we're just getting original episodes. And we still have gotten a remake or two thrown in the mix here and there. I know of one specifically. One or two. Or even inspired. Like, I know in this second season, I think there was the Imagination remake. That was more of a remake. But then we had the Anything box, which I believe in this one was the Anywhere box, which is definitely based on the original episode, but more of an inspired thing, because they sort of took their own turn with it. But my point is... these are the 3 different episode types in this show, and, I think they progressively got better. Again, the remakes were good, but, they didn't compare to the original show for me. The Inspired was better, but still not fully original, and then when it finally got to fully original, that's where I feel like the show has finally reached its peak, where it finally feels like its own thing with its own identity, and I love it. And I love these new episodes. It's amazing to finally be able to go into these episodes and not know what's going to happen fully. To not know every scene that's going to show up like I did when there was the remakes, and not be able to fully expect what's going to happen. It's really nice. And, as a Blue's Clues fan, this late in the game, 24 going on 25 years of life, it's nice to finally see Blue's Clues be new again. And it's great. But yeah, that's that. What do you guys think in terms of remakes inspired in original episodes? What do you guys have to say on that? Whew. I feel so much less tense now because that was the last talking point I had specifically. It's nice. My voice is so happy. It's like relaxing. Because it's like, oh my gosh, soon we're going to be done. And not that this hasn't been really fun, but I'm tired. It'd be cool if we got our own remake, if we got a remake/rewritten version of Our Neighborhood Festival, possibly called Blues Big Festival or Blues Neighborhood Festival. It's one of my favorite episodes of the Joe era. That would be cool. That would be nice. I mean, we've seen some of the Neighborhood in this new series too, so it's definitely something I could see they would do. And that was a good episode, it really was. So, that would provide some fun. I hope they do. That would be nice. There are a lot of episodes that I could sort of say that, I hope that they would maybe remake, and some that I wouldn't. That's an interesting question. What do you guys think? What episodes would you want to see remade? I'm curious. And while you answer that, I will try to think of some of my own. I was a bit put off that the first season was going to be remakes, and it took them a whole season to get doing more original stuff. Kind of overdue, not going to lie. That's totally fair. I remember I thought it was only going to be, the first half a season, and then, episodes kept coming out that were remakes, and I was like, oh my gosh, just please get to the originals. Again, not that they weren't good, but, I really wanted the original episodes. Oh, Gabe's here. Hey, Gabe. Hey, yo. You came in after I just talked about my last thing, but I'm here for a little bit longer to talk to the chat. I never super minded the remakes, but I'm so happy that they've moved on to making original episodes. It feels so refreshing to see some truly new content from Blue's Clues after all these years. That's what I'm saying. 2 words, Joe's/Josh's Clues. Yes! Joe's Clues. Yeah, again, one of my favorite episodes, I forgot to mention. Joe's Clues is a very weird episode of Blue's Clues. I feel like Donovan in that episode was so hyper, but I love it. That's a very weird and wacky episode, and I would love to see them do something like that. I don't want to see a full remake of it. I would more want to see something like, you know, an inspired episode of it. But yeah, Josh doing like Josh's Clues, that would be perfect. That would be great. I think they did remakes first because they want to test the waters. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it makes sense too that they would want to like just sort of test what they know already worked in the past. So yeah. I'm ready for Perry. Oh, Periwinkle, yes. What was your reaction when you predicted the Blue's Clues special birthday concept? I talked about this early in the stream, but yeah, no, that was a fun feeling to know that I like predicted something like that. I'm never the one who predicts that type of stuff. I really loved it. I felt like such a psychic. I am the duck. I like to quack. Have you seen my little snack? Oh no. It's good. They should do the Steve and Josh birthday episodes. What do you mean? Steve and Josh birthday episode? Oh, do you mean like what they did for Joe's surprise party, do you mean? But for Steve and Josh? If so, I agree. Imagine they would do a birthday episode for Steve. That'd be so cool. I really would love that. They could throw in references to the original show. It'd be great. I want to see Steve play Blue's Clues again. Oh, you are not alone. I want that. I want Steve to play Blue's Clues, or at the very least be in an episode fully as Detective Steve. Apollo gave you some prophecy. I'm a psychic. An episode of 2 I want to see be remade. Probably Morning Music, mainly because I feel like that episode could work a lot better with Josh. That's fair. No offense to Donovan, of course, but Josh is definitely the better singer between the two. Joe definitely could sing. But it feels like, you know, Josh definitely has more of the voice for like a fully musical episode. And that episode in general is just something that I could see them doing better than they did in the original. It's not one of my favorite episodes. What about a remake of The Wrong Shirt? That could be fun. A nice opposites episode. Bring back, Bob? Was his name Bob? The Skidoo character from that one? I think so. If Steve and Josh had their birthdays on the same day, then yeah. Well, no, because I think, well... No, they couldn't be on the same day. No, because they're not twins. Yeah, Joe is the little brother. As confirmed in Blue's First Holiday, so yeah, that wouldn't really work. In that regard. Did you know that Joe from Blue's Clues appeared in Nickelodeon Mega Music Fest? So I've heard. I haven't seen it myself, but I have heard that. Yeah, Bob. Yeah, Bob was the Skidoo. Yeah. It's so ironic. The silly Skidoo character with the name Bob. I miss Bob. I know, Bob was funny. That was a funny character. Stood on his hands and such. Made everything wonky. Although, admittedly, that is a very unsettling scene as a child. When you see someone skidooing out of the frame, but not only that, like, the frame was shaking and everything in the house was, like, shaking. That's a scary scene. There's a lot of unsettling Blue's Clues moments out there, but that is definitely among them. Even in Joe's scrapbook journey, he confirms that Steve's little brother. Yeah. No, what? Oh, he's Steve's little brother. Yeah, that. I thought you said the other way around. Yeah, you're right. But, yeah. I would love... If there's one episode I would love to see made, it would be some sort of like, I almost want to say like a flashback like episode where Josh comes to the house for the first time. Because we never really got to see that. Like, the same way that they introduced Joe, we never got to see that sort of same thing with Steve. With Josh, rather. Josh kind of just came in and he was like, I already live here. Tall side table freaked me out more. Really? I mean, fair. Tall side table is cursed. Tall side table is very, very cursed. Tall side table supremacy. That's about right. There should be an episode of Josh Town, the story of how he met Blue. Oh, yes. That'd be interesting. I would love to see, like, that. I would love to see, like, Josh's first day. Because technically we saw his first day playing Blue's Clues. And I guess that was his first day with a male. But I would love to see a flashback episode where, like, maybe they have Joe in the old shirt. And they, like, make it, like, oh, like, looking back on, like, the first time Josh came over and, like, met Blue. And maybe it could be, like, maybe it could sort of, like, double as a remake of Shy. Ooh. What if they remade Shy, but they presented it in the same way that they did Blue's First Holiday? That's my pitch. Blue's First Holiday remake mixed with a Shy remake. So it's not, like, it doesn't have to be Christmas or anything. Because they had a Christmas episode. But it could be, like, they're looking at old tapes of, like, they're looking at tapes and they're like, oh, this is when Josh first came over. And then the rest of it like, is shown through the tapes, and it's, like, a remake of Shy, where, like, Josh in this instance is Miranda coming over, but Blue's very shy around him. And that's what we're trying to figure out, and, like, getting used to people, and getting used to new people showing up. That would be cute. I want that. Not necessarily a remake of an original episode, but I'd love to see Blue's Room come back into Blue's Clues and You. I see. I have opinions on Blue's Room. But I think it's fine as its own separate show. I don't think they should mix it into the actual full show. One, because it sort of removes the time that we have in the show for the actual premise of the show. But two, now we just have less time. We just don't have enough time in episodes to allow for that. We didn't really have enough time back when they did Blue's Room originally. Especially Sprinkles. Yeah, Sprinkles should come back. That's the one thing I will say. I want Sprinkles back, but I want him in the animated world. I just want Blue to have a little brother. That'd be cute. They could do stuff with that. They could have fun with that. I would like that. I want Sprinkles back. Sprinkles is good. I wish we got more backstory episodes, like how Joe left, or how they grew up together until Joe left. Yeah, that's fair. But, like, I kind of want them to, too, but, like, I see why they don't do it as often, because it's just, like, harder to put together. Or at least show young Josh meeting everyone in the house or something. Fair. Having Josh already there with no explanation was odd, yeah. I expected almost, like, I wasn't sure that they would, but I was half expecting Joe to be front and center in the first episode, and, like, you know, make it seem like he's been doing it all this time, and then bringing Josh in. But that, you know, like, fair, like, I see why they wouldn't, because it's sort of made for the new generation, so it's harder to, like, tie that in properly. Oh my. It'd be cool to have a remake of Collection Day. I could see that having a remake. That's one of those episodes that I like, but it's not perfect. And now that we're getting Periwinkle back, it opens up that possibility. Let's see. How would you feel if Paprika would turn back into a baby in Blue's Clues and You? Big news with Blue and Cinnamon. Sage and Ninja were absent. That would be the silliest continuity error in my opinion. Yeah, that's fair. Here's the thing. I'm gonna like something I forgot to mention. So Sage and Ginger are a thing. The babies of the show. The new babies that they showed off in like episode 3. I think it was. Sage and Ginger sort of taking place of like Paprika and Cinnamon in earlier episodes. And I have to mention, and you know, I understand, you know, again, we've only gotten so many episodes that they could possibly be in, and they have shown up. But they haven't shown up in a while. It feels like they don't show up very often. Like they haven't, again, that's one of those things that they've added that they haven't really utilized as much as they could probably. And I see why they're not, because, I mean, they're not the main characters, obviously. But it just feels weird that they haven't really, like, done much with Sage and Ginger as of yet. Like, very, very little. And I'm wondering if they are going to. I'm sure they will over time, but it's strange that we haven't heard from them in a while. Let's see. We definitely need Sprinkles to return. Yes, yes, yes. We could do Blue Sprinkles and Magenta's clues. I mean, you know, Sprinkles got a little paw print, and we know that Magenta's paw print does a thing now because of getting glasses with Magenta. So, each of them could have a paw print in one thing. That's my pitch. That's my pitch for the show. I Did That was a very interesting episode, but I don't think it should get remade. Really? I have issue with I Did That. I think it's a good episode in theory. I think the little, like, song they do, the I Did That, happens 50 million times too many. Yeah, that's not one of my favorites. I think it's okay. I just think that song gets overused. It would have been fun to see Joe's house in the first episode. To reintroduce us to Josh so that he could pass the torch. Yeah, no, that's fair. Oh, Joe in the house. I thought you said Joe's house. It was like Joe's house. Does he have a house now? I mean, he might. Does he live in the president's store? It would be cool if Josh played Gold Clues and had a golden notebook. That'd be cool. Imagine if, like, somehow... I mean, they could do Puppyville. It doesn't have to be specifically Blues Room. I mean, obviously it has the Blues Room roots, but, like, they could bring back Sprinkles by just having a skidoo to a place, or, like, a book that's Puppyville. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I just want Sprinkles back. I just really like Sprinkles. Like, I was not a Blues Room person, but that being said, I love Meet Blues Baby Brother. That's the one Blues Room thing I will always defend, and that I will always rewatch. It's so good, I think. And I love Sprinkles, and I love that whole thing, and I just want him back. Blues Big Car Trip remake. That would be nice. That'd be nice. That was a good episode too, and I could see them doing more with that now. I really didn't like to play Blue and Magenta's Clues song because Josh said Blue and Magenta's Clues too quick. That's fair. No, yeah, that was kind of mashed together. A lot of that, I feel like that episode didn't work as well as it could have, personally. No offense to the episode, of course, and the people who made it. But to play Blue's Clues song was a little bit, like, you know, herky-jerky. And I'm not in love with the way that they put the paw prints, just like one on top of the other. Because it just, I don't know, I just didn't think it looked too perfectly great, if I'm honest. I think there are a couple different ways they could have done the paw print mixture of magenta and blue better. Like, maybe they could have had it, like, somehow mixed into, like, a half and half thing, or maybe they could have mixed to make a more purple color, or some sort of, like, swirl of it. Like, you know, as like, one cohesive paw print. I feel like stacking them felt a little odd. Do you prefer the original series or the new series? Ooh. That's a difficult question. Because I love both so dearly. And I love both for different reasons. I don't know if I could say I like one necessarily more than the other, honestly. I love them both very equally, again, for different reasons. So it's a little too hard to choose because they're so different. They're so the same but so different that it's hard to choose one that shines over the other. I will say, though, I really, really love the reboot. I think they did an excellent job. But yes. But yeah. That's the best I can say about the reboot. They did an amazing job. They kept the feel of the original show while updating it really well. And there may be some issues here and there, but I think they will be ironed out over time. And even if they don't, the little issues that I personally have and that some may have, I don't think are big enough issues that I could say that, like, the show is bad because of it. Like, no. It's an amazing show, either way. It's amazing. Magenta's Messages remake, that's a good idea. That was not a great episode in my opinion, so every episode that I want to be remade are episodes that I think are not great in the original. Because those are the ones that deserve to get remade. Because, you know, it gives them that second chance to do it a little bit better. Yeah. Whew, alright. I think we're gonna wrap up in a minute. Oh my god, my throat is on fire. Let me just check something. Okay. Sorry, I'm just like looking at things. Just making sure all my stuff is... Okay. Okay. Anyways, minimize that. But yeah, okay, anyway, and what else are you guys saying? If there's one thing you could say to the Blue's Clues cast and crew right now, if they were watching this, what would you want to say? Okay. Hire me. I don't know, for real. And there's one thing I could say to the cast and crew, is that, you know, if you're watching, which you're not, I'm sure, but if you're watching this somehow, magically, and you work for the show, you're all doing an amazing job. And the fact that you have been able to bring this classic nostalgic show into this new decade, into this, you know, new generation, is amazing. And it amazes me how well it's translated and how well you've been able to translate it for everyone, all the new kids. It's amazing. It's so good how you've done. And oh my gosh, my friend Amy is here. Hi. I have several friends in here, but I just didn't expect her to be here. A thinking man on the thinking chair. That's me. I'd put my arms on the things, but they only go so far. Hi, Amy. But yeah. So to the casting crew, you've done amazing. And if you ever need someone to voice a character, or if you ever need someone to do quality control, or if you ever want someone to design some products, I'm your guy. So, hire me. I joke, but I don't. I know I was saying that since I know Tech said he doesn't like Love Day, I hate Love Day. That's an episode I really don't like. Of the original series, let me say. The reboot is amazing. Well, I don't know if I want to go that far. It was a really good fixed version. Like, they did a lot better in the reboot. They fixed that episode so well. Because the original was bad. Well, okay, let me be nice. I don't want to be too... I just asked them to hire me. I can't immediately say that one of their episodes was terrible. I did not like it. It was an episode that I think could have been executed so much better. And the idea of Cinderella having a crush on Joe, or, you know, loving Joe to want to do... That felt icky. Even as a kid, it felt very strange. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing. Love Day is not my thing. Skidoo Adventure is also not my thing. There are some episodes of Blue's Clues that I really do not like. I love the show, but that doesn't mean I have to love every episode. And it doesn't mean I can't talk about them constructively, but I got very antsy in that moment. I could imagine Angela or someone on the crew watching me in that moment and be like, maybe we should think about taking this guy in. Oh, he hates our episode? Never mind. I really hope not. I love your show, Angela. Don't hate me. I'm scared about next week's stream, I'm going to be completely honest. Next week, I'm going to talk a lot about nitpicks. And I'm going to do it respectfully and, you know, as constructively as I can. But it concerns me, because if people who made the show see it, they might hate me. I hope not. I'm not a fan of Season 6, the person says. Yes, that's fair. Season 6 changed a lot of things. They really switched things up quite a bit. Blue's Big Musical should have been remade, BC Jr. says. I don't think so. I think Blue's Big Musical is perfect on its own. I think it's fine. I really don't see how they could really improve upon it. I think it's perfect. I think Blue's Big Musical is a perfect episode or movie or whatever you want to call it. I consider it a movie, even though I can see the validity in both. But it's amazing. It's great. I can't imagine it being better than that. Which is why I'm glad with the movie that's coming out, it's not just Blue's Big Musical. But yeah, Going all ham on it. I know, I went ham on the episodes for a minute. I'm sorry. I have strong opinions. I have very strong opinions. Nah, bro, if you got a constructive if you got a constructive view of the show, that's better than a person who butters up everyone up behind the scenes. That's fair. That's true. Because I could easily just, pretend and say everything in the show is perfect, it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's every little thing is the best thing ever. And I could say that, and it wouldn't even be completely inaccurate. But I do have things that I take issue with, and things that I personally think may have been able to be done better, and things that I would change if I were somehow in charge of it on the show. And that doesn't mean that the show's bad, it just means that there are things that I think could make it better. And even then, that's just my opinion, a lot of it. So, yeah, that's why I'm very careful. I want to be sure that my criticism, especially next week, comes off constructive rather than absolutely rude. Because, just because I love something doesn't mean I can't have issues with it. As I've learned over time, being the most nitpicky person alive, I can always have a little something of an issue with things. But I still love them. I really hate the season 6 goodbye song. Are you talking about the one where Joe calls everyone a sweet potato? I'm not gonna lie, that song is kind of stupid in a little way. And again, that's not me hating on it. I mean stupid in a good way. I really do. But it's a little bit oof, because it feels like they're trying to be a little cool. But at the same time, let me just say, I kind of love it. I don't know if people are going to judge me for loving that version of the song. I don't think it's better than the So Long song of the original. Definitely not better than the new one. But I had fun with that new version. I really did. I really love that song. Points for critical thinking. Hey. I do my best. I do my best because my brain won't let me do otherwise. In terms of nitpicking. Oh. Sweet potato. See you later, sweet potato. That's Joe for you. I'm sure that's like half the reason people hated Joe. Yeah, that was like the second song he changed, because originally he just changed the We Just Figured Out Blues Clues, which, fun fact for those who don't know it, which I'm sure is nobody here, but Joe's version of We Just Figured Out Blues Clues, the whole We Sat On Down, did not originate with him. Of course, it started in Blues Treasure Hunt from Steve's era. That was a song that he sang in that moment for some odd reason. I don't really know what the history is with that and why they changed it up for that one episode. But later on, they just sort of switched it up with by making that Joe's thing. So, fun Blues Clues facts. What else could they rhyme with see you later? Fair. That's a fair point. I kind of like it. Well, yeah, I wish it was longer, though. I feel like it was the length it needed to be. My favorite Season 6 episode is between Blues Wishes and Soccer Practice. Really? That surprises me. You're completely valid. I'm surprised that anyone's favorite is Soccer Practice. Not because it's a bad episode. I enjoy the episode. But that is an episode that I personally don't super prefer. I'm not a sports person. So, a whole episode taking place on a soccer field, playing sports. No, I can do without it. Blues Wishes was good, though. Oh, my voice. Play Blues Clues was shorter in Season 6. Another reason why I dislike Season 6. No, that is totally fair. Well, that's because, again, they were saving time because they were slipping in Blues Room at the end of those episodes. So they really had to save time, and that's why a lot of episodes, all episodes basically in Season 6 kind of felt rushed, more or less. It's because they had to make time. Again, that's why they couldn't do Blues Room now. Well, not that they couldn't, but they shouldn't do Blues Room now in the show. It should just be the separate, spin-off, because they just don't have the time to spare with less minutes than the original. Yeah. Alright. We're going on 2 hour 40... We're on 2 hour 45. I think it might be about time that we stop so that I could just lay down and never talk again until next week. That's not going to be what happens because I can't shut up ever. But I'm gonna try, because my voice hurts. At least for the next hour. I'm sure I won't even do that. But it's okay. Joe's Clues reigns supreme in Season 6. It does. Alright. But yes, that is about it for Part 1 of my Blue's Clues and You review. Again, Part 2 of this review will be coming out next week, next Wednesday, same time, 2 o'clock p.m. EST. So tune in for that. I will advertise it again around then, in case anyone forgets. And that stream, I will be talking about my my nitpicks of the show. I'm going to be a bit more savage in that one, I'll be honest. But again, it's all going to be critical thinking. It's all going to be constructive criticism. It's all going to be, respectfully said. Because the last thing I want to do is offend anyone who works on this amazing show. It's just, they do so good. Oh, it's so good. This was a lot of fun. Thank you. I'm so glad I could swing by. Oh, you rock. You rock, Amy. Shut up. You rock. I'm glad you could swing by. Thank you all for joining. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. So that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video, or in this case, the next stream. Bye!